puffed, puffed. Long Fei was momentarily unable to hold back. He forcefully spat out a mouthful of water and stared at Wang Shiyun. She said arrogantly, "What do you think? Wasn't this name awesome? To be shocked in an instant? Ha ha ha. This is a name that I had to think of for a whole 3 years." Long Fei really couldn't take it anymore. "The most powerful king? Look at that sharp mouth of yours. I bet it's all-mouthy king." Long Fei was speechless, looking at Wang Shiyun's smug face and taking such a domineering name. He was really speechless. And then Long Fei asked, "What is the level of your strongest king mercenary group now?" "Air. It's currently level D." Wang Shiyun was a little dejected, but immediately after he said, "D rank is only the beginning. I will definitely be the king. Grade D." Long Fei glanced at Wang Shiyun's chest and said, "The D cup should fit very well with you. Big enough. And then, that should be bronze 6, right?" Long Fei said in all seriousness. His name was the strongest ruler, but his strength was at bronze rank 6. Wang Shiyun did not know what Long Fei meant by D asterisk 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 asterisk, and said, "How do you know? Level D really is bronze 6. Puff. Long Fei laughed out loud and said, "What's the level away from the strongest king?" Wang Shiyun said, "It's not that high. Let me calculate it. Level D is divided into 5 levels, and level C is divided into 5 levels. That. Anyway, it's only a few levels. How is it? Will you join my mercenary group? I will give benefits to the team members." She was so shameless that she wanted to lure Long Fei in, with an expert like Long Fei who would dare to laugh at her strongest king. She wanted to let the people of Mercenary Guild have a good look. Who would dare laugh at her? Humph, Long Fei thought. Ancestor, can the heart of ancient fairy tree pass the Mercenary Guild mission? The old man continued. There are branches in the entire Mercenary Guild. They are much more useful than the auction houses. They should be your best choice, right now. Immediately, Long Fei said, "I promise you." "Yay. I knew you would agree. Hee hee." Wang Shiyun took out a contract and said, "Sign it. You are now the member of my strongest king. From now on, your business is my business. If anyone dares to bully you, I'll be the first to teach him a lesson." Ha ha. He was so cocky and unruly. Table of contents. Long Fei looked at the contract and signed it. Wang Shiyun also took out a badge and said, "This is the badge of my strongest king. Every single one of them is carved by me. If you carry them on your chest, you can take any mission you want in the Mercenary Guild." "Why is it a piece of bronze?" Long Fei laughed bitterly. Wang Shiyun was startled for a moment, then said, "Don't worry. In the future, when we exchange our level increase, nothing will be a problem." Hee hee. She was as happy as a child. In her mind, Long Fei was an expert, an expert, an expert. If he was not an expert, then what was he? The group of 4 finally arrived at Tianyun City when it was dark. The Tianyun City was very big, slightly bigger than the Fireglass City. After entering the city, the old man brought Long Fei and the others into a luxurious hotel and said, "We will rest here for the night. We will settle some matters tomorrow, and then we will head out to see Demon King City in the afternoon. Young Hero Long, don't worry about food and drinks. Just focus on it. Don't worry about anything." Since someone was paying, Long Fei would naturally not be courteous. He specially chose some expensive items to order, filling the entire table. The elder smiled and said, "You all eat first. I'll go out for a bit." Long Fei, Li Yuanba, and Wang Shiyun all started to eat. Not long after, a handsome youth dressed in luxurious clothing walked in. He brought 2 attendants with him and was not weak at all. Wang Shiyun's face changed. What are you doing here? The handsome youth immediately stepped forward and said, Shuryun, are you still angry at me? I've already admitted my wrongs to you, and Uncle has already forgiven me. Come back with me. Uncle Wang told me to come and take you back. Wang Shuryun asked coldly, Why should I be angry? Does your business have anything to do with me? I'm still in the midst of an escort mission, so I'm not going back. The youth disdainfully replied, A escort mission? Shuryun, don't get mad at me for escorting you to such a trashy mission. I promise that you won't go to the spring festival again. I promise you that. Wang Shuryun didn't care in the slightest and said, It's none of my business where you're going. Please leave now. The handsome youth sat down and directly grabbed Wang Shuryun's hand and said, Shuryun, please forgive me. I will never. Wang Shuryun struggled violently. However, the handsome youth's cultivation was clearly higher than hers. No matter how she struggled, she could not break free. Long Fei put down his chopsticks, slightly lifted his eyes, and said, Hey, can you not disturb my eating? The handsome youth glared at him. You dog, scram. Li Yuanba suddenly put down the bowl and stared at the handsome youth, staring straight at him. The handsome youth felt his hair stand on end as he scolded in anger. You dog, you haven't seen your father, have you? Huh, Wang Shuryun shouted. Suyu, please show some respect. They are all my friends. Friends? Humph. I can tell that these two country bumpkins aren't good people. Look at the dishes on this table. They are all the most expensive. Just by looking at them, you can tell that they don't treat you as a friend. Can poor bastards like them afford to eat so much? Ever since he entered, he had been unhappy that Long Fei and him were sitting at the same table and eating, because Long Fei was not worthy. This was even more because Wang Shuryun was his woman. Wang Shuryun suddenly stood up and said, Suyu, please get out. Suyu didn't dare to do anything to Wang Shuryun, but he stared at Long Fei and laughed coldly. What? Isn't it wrong to say that you are destitute? Do you feel bad about being a country bumpkin? Do you know what this is? Do you know how much a table is? Can you afford it? Kid, if I were you, I would immediately scram. Su Yu was very arrogant. His two followers behind him gave him a disdainful sneer. In their eyes, Long Fei was just a war chief realm. This cultivation level was not their match. Long Fei grinned. Then, what do you think we should do so we can eat? He wasn't in a hurry. Su Yu laughed complacently. The dishes in this inn can be considered the top quality food in Tianyan City, big and small, at least a few thousand taels of silver. Can you afford it? Don't try to pick up girls without money. You understand? There are some women that you can't get and can't touch. Baidu search. Half afloat, scram, Wang Shuryun said angrily. Suyu, have you messed around enough yet? Long Fei still had a faint smile on his face as he said, Then how much money do I need to be able to afford it? I'd like to know. Suyu took out a silver note that was worth 100,000 silver and asked, Did you? Country Bumpkin. Chapter 18_2356624. Some people just like to step on others to stand out. Some people just like to step on others to stand out. Always looking superior. If you want to pick up a girl, you should just do it. Only women would like it. That's why I feel you're so strong, so mighty, looking at the 100,000 taels of silver on the table. Long Fei looked at him without moving and asked, Wow, you're rich, huh? Suyu said complacently, It's good that you know this, brat. Can you get out now? While he was speaking, Long Fei snapped his fingers at the air. Pata? Buddy, come over here for a bit. That shop assistant was surprised for a moment and muttered in his heart, This way of calling you a shop assistant is really special, but it's very eye-catching. The servant walked up and bowed, smiling. Dear guest, is there anything else you would like me to tell you? Long Fei took out a spirit stone from the space ring and said, "This is the money for the meal." Pa! Placing the spirit stone on the table, a dense amount of spiritual energy dispersed outwards. Any cultivator would know that this was a spirit stone and that it was of decent quality. The shop assistant was dumbfounded. This are these spirit stones? If you don't need this much, our store won't be able to find it either. Long Face said indifferently, "It doesn't matter if you can't find it. Get me another table. My big bro is not full yet." "All right. Don't even mention a table. It's fine even if you eat here for a month." The shop assistant took the spirit stones and prepared to leave. At this time, Long Fei took out another spirit stone and said, "This is your tip." The shop assistant was completely dumbfounded. He almost kneeled down towards Long Fei, looking at the spirit stones on the table, then looking at Long Fei. He felt that Long Fei was a living Buddha. "Isn't it just a spirit stone? Take it," Long Fei said very generously, glancing at Suyu with disdain, and said with contempt, "These days you even use silver notes. What a countryside bumpkin." Pauper. Face smacking had to be accurate. An attack had to be ruthless. More than money? 100,000 silver was a lot. Compared to spirit stones, it was nothing. In that instant, Suyu looked at the 100,000 taels of silver on the table. His face was stinging as if he had been stepped on by Long Fei and slapped fiercely twice. It was very uncomfortable, very unpleasant. Li Yuanba held his breath and said with foolish contempt, "Pauper." At this time, Wang Shiyun looked at Long Fei with incomparable shock and said, "TT, that's a spirit stone. Why you actually took it as a tip? Do you know how much a spirit stone is worth?" Long Fei's eyes turned as he looked at Wang Shiyun, his gaze carrying traces of melancholy and dominance. He directly sat beside Wang Shiyun, gently grabbed onto Wang Shiyun's small hand, and said gently, "No matter how precious a spirit stone is, it's not 1/1,000,000th of your value. If you want me to give you anything, I can, including my heart." With such a pair of melancholy eyes, coupled with her deep emotional expression, plus these words, any girl would be drunk. Especially the last sentence, including my heart, it made a young girl this drunk. Wang Shiyun was immediately stunned. This was what it meant to pick up girls. To be crazy, to be overbearing, and to be gentle, to be able to kill with a single blow. Suyu was burning with anger. His fists were clenched tightly, and his face was extremely ugly. The two palms just now were now 200 palm strikes on his face. Pain. It was extremely painful. Who is Suyu? Su's mercenary corps, the son of the guild leader, was the strongest mercenary group in the Tianyun city. As the leader's only son, he, the playboy, was arrogant and tyrannical. It was as if he could cover the sky with one hand in the Tianyun city. When had he ever been humiliated like this? Immediately, Suyu slammed the table. Li Yuanba held onto a pair of chopsticks and pressed it down. "Don't move. I haven't finished eating." Suyu was startled and did not lift it, but instead he felt a burst of pain on his fingers and shouted angrily, "You dog, I think you are tired of living. You dare to steal a woman from Lousy. Who do you think you are?" Hit and cripple the two of them. Suyu was furious. If he could not defeat Long Fei in terms of posturing, he would not be in a good mood. However, he believed that Long Fei would soon kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. Suyu shouted, "Brat, don't think that you can be so arrogant just because you have 2 spirit stones. I have to tell you this. In this world, the martial arts is everything. Attack." The 2 followers suddenly moved. Long Fei slightly said, "Yuanba, kick them out. Don't disturb my romance here." Li Yuanba suddenly stood up and said, "As you command." With a 3-meter tall body coupled with the big size of his muscles, he suddenly stood up almost scaring Suyu to the point of falling to the ground. Before he could even sit down, the visual impact was too great. When he stood up, "What are you waiting for? Cripple me!" Suyu bellowed. The two bodyguards rushed forward, aiming at Li Yuanba. They chopped down. Bam! Bam! The sound of two oppressive forces colliding rang out. Two black figures flew out in a straight line, heavily landing on the street and becoming dead dogs on the ground. Li Yuanba clapped his hands and said naively, "Boss, finish up." 1 second to finish the battle. And then Li Yuanba held back a glance at Suyu and asked, "Boss, where is this poor bastard?" He was dumbfounded. He was completely dumbfounded. The customers, waiters, and shopkeepers were all stunned. Before they could even see clearly, the two bodyguards had already flown out. It's still something a human should do. This looby was too terrifying. Long Fei stood up and looked at Suyu. "What were you trying to tell me?" "Martial power is respected, right? Who is the ruler now? Who's the dog?" Suyu's face was extremely ugly. He stared at Long Fei and said, There is. We have the guts to fight him alone." As far as he was concerned, Long Fei was definitely a foppish young master with a strong bodyguard. He was definitely a good-for-nothing. With his level 7 war chief cultivation, Suyu did not put him in his eyes, because he was an existence at the 9th level of the war chief, an existence 2 realms higher than Long Fei, able to completely crush him. Of course, that was what he thought himself. The corner of Long Fei's mouth slightly drew back and said, "One-on-one." Suyu thought Long Fei was afraid and said, "What? Don't dare to? If you don't dare, then scram out. If you don't dare, then don't King, not touch my woman. You inquired in the Tianyun city. Who doesn't know that Wang Shiyun is my woman?" Wang Shiyun stood up and said, "Suyu, you better listen up clearly. I have nothing to do with you." Suyu became even more unhappy and said, "Kid, do you dare to duel? Today, I will trample you to death." Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system. The smile on Long Fei's face became ice cold, and he asked, "Are you sure?" Suyu said complacently, "I'm sure." Before he could finish his words, Long Fei suddenly made his move. Chapter 28_19/2356625. The slap fiercely smashed down, instantly slapping Suyu down onto the ground. Suyu moved his body, stepping on it, his eyes darkened. "You dare to fight with me, one-on-one with someone like you?" The slap fiercely smashed down, instantly slapping Suyu down onto the ground. Suyu moved his body, stepping on it, his eyes darkened. "You dare to fight with me, one-on-one with someone like you? Is it good? Fast, accurate, and ruthless?" Without giving Suyu any time to react at all, fell to the ground with a slap. Suyu was a little fierce. Her cheeks were numb, and she couldn't even feel any pain. Being stomped by Long Fei, she became enraged and said, "Do you know who I am? Do you know what my father meant?" Long Fei shook his head. "I don't know, but I know who your grandfather is." Suyu was startled. "My grandfather?" Long Fei said, "That's me." Suyu was in comparable rage and said, "Brat, you dare to provoke me. This old man will toy with you to death. You still dare to be arrogant." Before he finished speaking, Long Fei had already lifted Suyu up. With a move of his right hand, he grabbed out the dragon salure that was resting on his neck and revealed a slight smile that seemed like the god of death. "Come, smile for grandfather again." The arrogant, domineering aura of the dragon salure directly crushed Suyu's mind. Unwell. It was extremely uncomfortable. Suyu's face turned pale, and his entire body trembled. He could not even stand steadily, and directly knelt down with a thump. "Great hero, please spare my life." Please spare my life. I will never dare to do so again. Long Fei laughed. Not arrogant? If you dare to be arrogant again, let me see. Isn't your father awesome? Aren't you just pretending? Continue. Suyu knelt on the ground. Just the 100,000, 3,000-kilogram dragon Salyer nearly broke his neck and caused him to tremble uncontrollably. He felt as if an angry dragon was staring at him. As long as Long Fei gave the order, the dragon would swallow him up. Suyu had never been as afraid as he was now. He begged for mercy. Spare me, chivalrous man, I really don't dare. I'm a poor bloke. I'm a country bumpkin. I'm trash. I'm a dog. While they were talking, Suyu slapped his face. Long Fei said, Will you continue to pester my captain in the future? Your guild leader? Suyu took a glance at Long Fei, and upon seeing the badge on his chest, he immediately reacted, saying, I don't dare, definitely don't dare. Are you the one who called Shuryan? Long Fei glared at him. Suyu immediately changed his words. Miss Wang, I will definitely not disturb you again. I will tell Dad when I get back. The marriage contract will be dissolved. She is yours. How could I dare to fight with you for a woman? Long Fei looked at Wang Shuryan. Wang Shuryan said, Forget it. Spare his life. Others might not know, but she was very clear that Suyu had an extremely strong background. His father controlled the strongest mercenary group in the Tianyun city. In the Tianyun city, he could cover the sky with one hand. It was because of helplessness that her father had agreed to the Su family's engagement. If Suyu was killed, then Long Fei would never be able to leave Tianyun city. Long Fei withdrew his dragon Salyer and said faintly, Scram! Suyu immediately rolled on the ground, rolling all the way out. The customers in the restaurant did not dare laugh. They only looked at Long Fei in shock. Their eyes seemed to be saying that Long Fei was a dead man. Tianyun city offended the Su family? This was no different from courting death. Suyu, who had rolled out of the restaurant, had dense killing intent in his eyes. Gritting his teeth, he said, You dog, just you wait. I want your corpse to be torn into 10,000 pieces. Suyu was a vindictive person. He would definitely take revenge for the humiliation today. There was no one in the Tianyun city that he couldn't touch. In another place. Ha ha ha. Good. Then it's a deal. You can rest assured. With me, Su Tianlei, protecting you, you will be able to travel smoothly. Who would dare not to give me, Su Tianlei, some face on the road to the Sea Demon King City? Ha ha ha. Su Tianlei laughed. The elder smiled. Then we shall leave it all to Captain Su. Su Tianlei laughed. No problem. Come out tomorrow afternoon. The elder said, This old and useless one bid farewell. Su Tianlei returned to the hall and took out a bag of spirit stones. He weighed the spirit stones on his hand a few times and said, 100 spirit stones. Ha ha. Steward Su walked over and congratulated him. Congratulations, old master. We have made a huge profit this time. 100 spirit stones as an escort mission has not appeared in the Tianyun city for a long time, and after completing this mission, the Su's mercenary corps is one step closer to the king's team. It's a cause for celebration. Su Tianlei also laughed out loud. He was currently a class of mercenary group and was still a distance away from becoming a king's class. If he were to complete the mission, it would be, as Housekeeper Su had said, he would advance another step. You know, the entire South Horizon region only had 10 king-level mercenary groups. He wanted to become the 11th. At the same time, Su Tianlei thought in his heart, What exactly do you want me to escort? The reward is actually 300 spirit stones. This is definitely not a normal amount of money. What exactly is it? Sea Heaven Merchant Union, Sea Devil Emperor. These things should belong to the Devil sect. What exactly is it? He also wanted to know. Even though Su Tianlei was different, he said to the butler in a low voice, Su Fu, go gather some information. I want to know what exactly he wants me to escort. Su Fu nodded and said, I'll go right now. At this moment, Su Yu stumbled in, crying as he shouted, Dad, 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 someone hit me. Su Tianlei's forehead turned sinister and said to Su Fu, You go first. Su Yu ran into the hall and showed his face to Su Tianlei. Father, someone is slapping your son's face. He's still not putting you in his eyes. Su Tianlei was slightly angered and said, Didn't Wang Bodong ask you to bring Wang Shiyun back? Where did you get into trouble? It was he who had called for people to inform Wang Bodong of Wang Shiyun's arrival in the city. Su Yu immediately said, I did, and I admit my wrongs, but… Father, your son is going to wear a green hat, and my head is already glowing with a green light. Su Tianlei gave a slight cold snort. Just what happened? Su Yu said, That bitch Wang Shiyun brought back a man. She beat me just now and threatened to trample Su's mercenary corps to death. When I heard that, I couldn't help it. I'll fight him to the death when I get up there. But, however, that guy had two people. Wang Shiyun was still helping him. Look at my face, how swollen it is. Father, it doesn't matter if you hit me, but you can't insult Su's mercenary corps. Add oil and vinegar, shit, urine, equals semi/floating life plus. Su Tianlei's patience was not very good. Upon hearing that someone did not even put the Su's mercenary corps in his eyes, he immediately became extremely angry. You dare to be so arrogant on this daddy's territory? You're courting death. Just as he was about to charge out in a rage, a person landed in the courtyard. Demon, Chapter 38_8419/2356626. In the inn. He ate and drank to his heart's content. Long Fei returned to his luxurious courtyard. 2 spirit stones could buy this inn, but now the shop assistants treated him like an emperor. At the entrance to the yard, Li Yuanba sat on the stairs with the Xian Shin sarcophagus beside him, quietly guarding him like a king of war. Long Fei did not allow anyone to enter. Then he would definitely not let anyone in. In the yard, Long Fei was like a thread of blood as he fell into a trance. His idea moved and directly entered the God's Devil space. Buzz. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for activating God's Devil space. God's Devil space cultivated in Devil Arts and Devil Arts, which were multiplied by several times. The God's Devil space had a total of 9 levels, with each level being different. The higher one went, the faster one trained, and the faster one trained. Looking at the God's Devil space's description, Long Fei was surrounded by a huge martial arts training field. Everything here, artifact forging workshop, alchemy, inscription formation, symbols, summoning technique, everything. These auxiliary method demons could also cultivate, but the pills they refined were magic pill S, devil artifacts, devil arrays. It really is a holy land for training. I really need it. Long Fei rejoiced in his heart. The cultivation technique he was training in right now was simply too difficult. Increasing it by 1 point at a time would take too much time to upgrade it. For example, Dragon Salyer technique. I need a 100,000 points proficiency to level up. How can I train to go up? He could only stack it up with time. Anyone who had played before knew that the higher the skill level, the stronger the attack. The most important point, it was also the most important cultivation technique that Long Fei felt was very important to him. Wushuang. Unparalleled at the 2nd level, 4 times the attributed strength, it was simply an explosive display. In the previous battle with Wu Haotian, if he wasn't 4 times the original strength, he wouldn't have been his match at all. Even if he had quadruple his attributes, it would still be extremely taxing. His spiritual force was unable to withstand it. The quadruple attributes seemed to be fine, but it wasn't. It required a strong spiritual force to support it. Its attack power was quadruple, and its energy consumption was quadruple as well. If he were to use it continuously, his body definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. This was the key. Another thing, the War Emperor realm was too strong. Even if it was at the peak of the War Master, the difference between it and the War Emperor realm was like heaven and earth. Take Wu Haotian and Hong Tianjun, for example. It is also a War Emperor realm, but Hong Tianjun was so much stronger than Wu Haotian, too much that there was no way to compare to him at all. Huff. Hong Tianjun, I will definitely appear in a position where I will absolutely crush you. I will definitely make you kneel down and sing a song of conquest. Definitely. Long Fei's idea sunk and immediately shouted, Whoosh Wong! Boom. Ding. Proficiency +2. Proficiency leveled up twofold. Furthermore, his true chi was only 1/10 of what it was in the real world. This was too satisfying. At the same time, Long Fei formed a seal with his hands, opened his eyes and shouted, Sealing secret. Shua. A talisman-like shadow exploded in the air. The cooldown time was up. Whoosh Wong. Whoosh Wong. Whoosh Wong. Sealing, sealing, sealing. Long Fei cultivated with all his might. 3 years was a very short period of time, so he had to train as hard as he could. Apart from Whoosh Wong and sealing, Long Fei had practiced all the cultivation techniques in this space once. Only the Holy Sword 81 moves that gave him an incomparable headache. The damage of this sword technique. His watch had blown up. However, 81 strikes, 81 moves. Even if it was just 1/10 of the energy consumed, it would still be a true chi of 81,000 points. He couldn't afford it at all, Long Fei thought. At that time, the only thing I can do is to raise my god's devil space to the 9th stage of cultivation. Sigh. Whoosh Wong. Ding. Proficiency +2. An hour passed, and Long Fei was still cultivating. An hour and a half later, he was still cultivating. While the skills were on cooldown, Sauron's skills kept appearing in his mind. He had yet to fully comprehend the power of 3-blade stream and ghost slash. Moreover, it was not something that could be released just because he wanted to. He needed to enter a higher realm to release it. Long Fei was not going to let it go either. Now, it was the 3-blade stream, ghost slash. In the future, he would also have the 9 Knives force. He had to learn all of Sauron's moves. At the entrance to the yard, the old man came back, wanting to enter, but was stopped by Li Yuanba's hammer. Boss has orders. No one is allowed to enter. The elder smiled and said, Sure, sure, sure. At this moment, 2 hours had passed, and Long Fei had been kicked out of the god's devil space. He had spent 1,000 points to regain his original body's appearance. However, no matter how Long Fei changed, whether he was tired or tired, the consumption of his true chi was still the same. Long Fei walked to the well and poured a bucket of water over his head, saying, Yuanba, let him in. Walala, this is great. As the cool and refreshing water from the well poured onto his body, he felt incomparably comfortable. The old man walked into the courtyard and said apologetically, I didn't make any arrangements for what happened tonight. I've caused you trouble, so I will definitely make it up to you. He went back to the hotel and listened to what the clerk had to say, and he was shocked. He was not shocked because of Long Fei's strength. Back at Swallow Mountain, he had personally witnessed Long Fei killing Lu Niushan in an instant. An ordinary martial artist would never be able to earn 2 spirit stones in their entire life. but he actually gave them as a tip. What sort of concept was that? You don't even care about spirit stones? Also, he was also a little worried in his heart because the person Long Fei offended was Su Tianlei's son, Suyu, the second-generation ancestor of the Tianyun city. If Su Tianlei got angry, then his mission would be affected. There were still more than 8,000 kilometers to the Sea Demon King city, and they would need about 3 months to reach there. Other than Long Fei, he had to find as much help as possible. The people who wanted to find him inside the Sea Heaven Merchant Union definitely could not do so. They could only go through the Mercenary Guild. In the Tianyun city, there were 3,000 people, making it the strongest mercenary group. Thus, he found Su Tianlei. Long Fei smiled, lightly. It's all right, you don't need to compensate me. Sister-in-law, 1-/+ health, strongest upgrade system. The old man hesitated for a moment, but in the end, he still revealed the matter of him hiring the Su's mercenary corps. Even if I don't care about the Su family on account of this old man. Long Fei frowned slightly. The old man was worried that he would not protect Long Fei well, so he smiled. No problem. I am the best person to speak. As long as they do not provoke me, I will definitely not provoke them. If they provoke me, hee. Chapter 48_8419/2356627. No, the elder quickly said, secretly relieved. Many thanks. No, the elder quickly said, secretly relieved. Many thanks. Long Fei laughed. You're welcome. The old man continued, regarding the magic Buddhist relics. I hope you won't tell anyone else. This is our secret. Long Fei replied. Understood. The elder said, Then I won't disturb your rest any longer. He backed out. Long Fei then hoisted another bucket of water from the well and poured it all over. Awesome. Better not to provoke me. Otherwise. A few hundred kilometers outside of Tianyun City, in a dark corner of a valley, 2 old men, wearing black cloaks. One of them said in a low voice, I can feel the aura of the God's devil ancestor. Another person said, Me too, didn't God's devil ancestor fall? Why? The old man said, God's devil ancestor has limitless magic. Even if he falls, he will definitely think of ways to escape from the cycle of reincarnation and reappear in this world. Another person said, We have to find the ancestor and revive our sect. The old man said, There's also the God's devil token. We haven't been able to find them for so many years. The patriarch's aura is emitted from inside the Tianyun city. It must be somewhere in the Tianyun city. Let's go. I must find the reincarnation of the God's devil ancestor. I must find him. The 2 balls of demon energy turned into a ball of light and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Their cultivation had already reached a terrifying realm, at least War Emperor realm. The God's devil token reappeared. The demon forces of the South Horizon region would inevitably trigger a change. The great reshuffle was about to begin. As for all of these, Long Fei had no idea. Who would have thought that taking out the God's devil token and opening the God's devil space's cultivation would attract the attention of the elders of the Heavenly Demon sect? Something completely unexpected. Because the God's devil token had appeared, it gave rise to a light ripple which slowly spread outwards. From a small wave, it eventually turned into an enormous wave that overturned the sky. Let's not talk about the future for now. The night passed in silence. The next morning. What are you doing? Are you letting me sleep so early in the morning? Long Fei said in a very displeased tone. He had been asleep for less than 2 hours when he woke up. You know, God's devil space only had 2 hours a day, and after 12 o'clock, it was a new day. Long Fei threw his head back and fiercely cultivated for another 2 hours. After coming out, he started training in Dragon Salyer Technique S and the like. He was really risking his life right now. It wasn't easy for him to sleep for a while, and he had just dreamed of having a romance with a few beauties, and he was about to take off his clothes. But she was awoken by Wang Shiyun. He was really unhappy. Wang Shiyun said, "As the strongest member of the king's team, how can you sleep late? This mission is very important to our team. We have to succeed. After thinking deeply last night, I have decided to recruit a few more members to ensure the success of this mission." Long Fei waved his hand. "You are the guild leader. If I want to recruit you, I will, so don't pull me." Wang Shiyun said, "You are my teammate. You have to listen to all the orders from the group leader. You have signed the indenture contract." "Huh." Long Fei glared and said, "Little girl, what is this indenture contract? You dare to play with me?" Wang Shiyun immediately weakened and giggled. No. How could I dare to mess with you? Didn't you want to arrange some mission? Let's go and have a look and get familiar with the process. And also help me support the scene. Right, hee. She wanted Long Fei to give her face. No one would pay any attention to her if she were to recruit a team member on her own. The last recruitment had either been for her beauty or for her wealth. All of them burped. The important reason: they were too weak. This time, she wanted to recruit some experts, at least not weaker than Long Fei. This was the bottom line in her heart. The strongest king's mercenary group was going to recruit the strongest expert. Long Fei thought for a while, but was not sleepy even after being harassed like this, and said, "Wait outside, I'll be right there." "No, I'll stay here. What if you fall asleep again?" Wang Shiyun insisted. Long Fei looked at her and asked, "Are you sure?" Wang Shiyun was very firm as he said, "I'm sure." Long Fei immediately pulled back the blanket and exposed his upper body. Ah. Wang Shiyun covered his eyes in panic and cursed, "Smelly hooligan!" He turned around and hastily ran out of the room. He was so flustered that he nearly crashed into the doorframe. Long Fei disdainfully said, "Damn, I already let you leave. You have no experience. Sleeping naked is good for your body. Clean up." Long Fei put on a clean set of clothes and walked out of the room. Wang Shiyun looked at him, slightly amazed, and thought in his heart, "He's quite handsome." Ding! Intimacy +5. Long Fei said shamelessly, "Did you get attracted to me? This hero, handsome, right?" "Ha ha ha." Wang Shiyun immediately replied, "Shameless." Ding! Intimacy 50. F***CK. System, you tricked me. Long Fei cursed in his heart. Li Yuanba was still guarding the stairs and did not sleep for the whole night. Long Fei said, "Yuanba, you go and rest. Eat whatever you want. Eat however much you want. Whoever dares to say that you ate too much, don't talk rubbish with him and smash him." 2 spirit stones could not be spent in vain. Li Yuanba nodded, and Tianyun City Mercenary Guild. This was the busiest place in Tianyun City. Mission assigned, mission accepted. Points deal. There were also some recruits and some stalls. It was exactly the same as the world of the game. When he arrived at the entrance of the Mercenary Guild, Wang Shiyun immediately took out the special recruitment flag and shouted loudly, "The strongest king has recruited a team member. The most powerful king is recruiting for his team. The most powerful king is recruiting for his team." Long Fei almost could not listen to it anymore, and the surrounding people started to laugh out loud. "Ha ha ha. It's her again. The most powerful king. In my opinion, he should be the weakest. The most powerful trash should be about the same. Ha ha ha." Wang Shiyun did not care about them at all. She believed that only people with good judgment would be willing to join her team and continue shouting. Long Fei pretended not to know him and said, "Continue with the recruitment. I'll go inside to take a look." He had come to see how the mission would be arranged. Entering the hall, Long Fei was a little dumbfounded. It was just like the train station in his previous life, a huge screen of black stone. Level C mission, Flower of Darkness, 100 points. 3 days time, 3,000 silver. B-level mission, exploring the ancient tomb in the dark forest, bringing back the king corpse's head. In 1 month, 500 points, 10,000 silver. Various tasks, and they all have a level mark. Suddenly, Long Fei saw a mission written by the demon clan. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system, no matter if it was a sect or a devil, mercenary guild, were all alike. SSS level mission, search for God's devil token. The God's devil token on me. Chapter 5. Thank you for your monthly tickets, and thank you sincerely. 8_8419/2356628. SSS level mission. Search for the God's devil token. There is no time limit. 10 million points. 10,000 spirit stones will be rewarded, in addition to the Heavenly Demon Sect's special reward. SSS level mission. Search for the God's devil token. There is no time limit. 10 million points. 10,000 spirit stones will be rewarded, in addition to the Heavenly Demon Sect's special reward. This quest information was available a long time ago. It was also the mission that hadn't been completed in the land of South Heaven for dozens of years. It was also the quest with the most rewards. Looking at the mission information, Long Fei was a little surprised. God's devil token? The God's devil token on me? I didn't expect the demonic sect to exist in this world. At first, Long Fei thought that it was the system's doing, but he didn't expect that the Sky Demon sect really existed. The rewards are really generous. Just 10,000 spirit stones is enough to make people salivate, not to mention the special reward from the Heavenly Demon sect. Long Fei secretly said in his heart, looking at the God's devil token within the space ring, he said with a smile, this mission should not be completed by anyone. He would never hand over the God's devil token. He also needed God's devil token's cultivation technique. How could he hand it over? Long Fei walked around the adventurer's hall and roughly understood the process of accepting the quest. Outside the hall, from far away, they could see that Wang Shiyun was surrounded by people. Long Fei was startled. I didn't expect her to have some ability to actually be able to recruit people. Su, what are you trying to do? What are you doing? You guys? The sound of Wang Shiyun being forced to cry came out. Long Fei's heart trembled. No. Immediately, he quickly rushed forward. Wasn't it just when Long Fei left that Suyu brought a group of people over to her side? They were all ridiculing her, and looking down on her. Suyu stared at Wang Shiyun and sneered. Where's your little girl? Why haven't I seen that country bumpkin? Wang Shiyun picked up the flagpole on the ground, his eyes cold, and said, Suyu, scram. Suyu laughed complacently. Scram? Wang Shiyun, you wretched woman, don't think that just because you are the daughter of the city lord that you are so amazing. Shameless be asterisk, TCH. You're looking for a man behind my back. If he's here today, I'll definitely kill him. The words had just come out. Long Fei walked out. Who's calling me grandpa? Suyu's face instantly changed. His body couldn't help but tremble, and he said to the middle-aged man beside him, Fifth uncle, that's him. Long Fei looked at the broken flagpole, then looked at the tears flowing from the corner of his eyes. He raised his eyes. Without further ado, without waiting for Suyu's reaction, he immediately slapped him twice. Pa. Lousy has given you face, right? Long Fei glared at him angrily. 2 slaps landed. Suyu was suddenly slapped until she was lying on the ground, seeing stars and her swollen face quickly turned back into the shape of a pig's head. She covered her face with her hands and said, "Fifth uncle, he hit me, kill him." Su Wushan's eyes turned sinister as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you're very arrogant, daring to behave so atrociously here. Don't you see where you are?" As soon as he finished, a large group of big-sized men rushed out, with a dozen of them surrounding Long Fei and Long Fei. Su Wushan sneered. "Su's mercenary corps' business. Those unrelated to you all scram." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The spectators quickly retreated, all of them with an expression as if they were watching a good show. "Ha ha ha. That kid is going to suffer. You dare to hit the crown prince of the Su family? Aren't you asking for trouble? He must be the one chasing after the city lord's daughter. But if he does not take a piss, who in the Tianyun city would dare to go against the Su family?" The tempo of courting death. The Su family was the overlord of Tianyun city, an overlord who could cover the sky with one hand. Su Yu laughed complacently and said, "Trash, continue being so arrogant for this daddy. Damn it, if you dare hit this daddy will cripple you today." He felt proud of himself. Last night, if it wasn't because his father had something important to do, he wouldn't be allowed to go out. Otherwise, he would have long since brought the Su family members to kill Xiang Longfei at the inn. He had brought people to the mercenary guild early in the morning to wait. He had predicted that Wang Shiyun would come here to recruit members. This was different from last night. Last night, he only had 2 bodyguards by his side, and now he only had 30 of them, and they were even fifth uncle of the war elder. No matter how strong Long Fei was, he was stronger than fifth uncle of the war elder. Su Yu laughed disdainfully. "Stealing women from me. Who do you think you are? Kid, I'll give you a chance to live. Kneel down and admit your mistake. If I'm happy, I might spare your dog life." He loved to step on people. Moreover, before he stomped on someone, he liked it the most when they kneeled down in front of everyone. "I'm not tired of it." Su Yu looked at Wang Shiyun and laughed coldly. "Shiyun, look at him. He's about to kneel down in front of me and beg for mercy right now. Ha ha ha." He started to laugh maniacally. In this situation, he was definitely going to win. He wanted to trample on Long Fei to the point where he had no chance of resisting. However, he didn't really understand Long Fei. If he knew about him, he definitely wouldn't have brought these people over, or it could be said that he wouldn't come at all. Looking at Su Yu, she laughed crazily. Long Fei said coldly, "Do you really like people kneeling down that much?" Su Yu laughed. "It's your honor to kneel down to me, you trashed. You understand?" The moment he spoke, Long Fei slightly moved his feet. Su Jianshan immediately became vigilant, and his body shivered. His hands covered his face, and he hid behind Su Jianshan as he scolded, "You dog, come if you dare." "Kneel." Long Fei was enraged, and the Wind Shadow fanatic was released. His figure disappeared. In that instant, Long Fei stood in front of Su Yu, revealing a sinister and cold smile, and said, "Kneel." His body sank. Both of his fists moved, directly striking Su Yu's kneecap. Crack! Crack! Su Yu unsteadily stood and heavily knelt on the ground. Long Fei stood up, walked forward a step, and hooked his rear foot. Bam! He kicked the back of Su Yu's head. His forehead heavily kowtowed. Bang! The floor was cracked from the impact, and blood spurted out from his forehead. After doing all this, Long Fei leisurely walked back to Wang Shiyun's side and said with a faint smile, "Kneel down and kowtow. You're so obedient." It took less than 3 seconds to do all this. Too fast. It was so fast that it was dazzling. Even Su Jianshan, who was at the peak of the War Elder realm, was unable to react in time. Ah! Su Yu was unable to stand back up, and could only kneel on the ground. His face was pale, and the pain he felt was as if he was crying like a ghost. "Fifth uncle, my leg, my leg. Kill him for me." It was also at this time 2 rows of guards rushed out, shouting, "Let's see who dares." Chapter 18_8419/2356629. Tian Yin City Lord is here. Tian Yin City Lord is here. Wang Bodong brought over 50 elite soldiers with him and rushed out with spears, immediately surrounding Su Jianshan and the others. Wang Bodong glanced at Long Fei, then shouted, "Let's see who dares to touch him." Su Jianshan's forehead turned sinister as he said coldly, "City Lord Wang, what do you want to do?" Wang Bodong coldly snorted and said, "Su Jianshan, what do you want to do now?" Wang Shiyan walked forward and said weakly, "Father," Wang Bodong scolded in a low voice, "I'll take care of you when we get home." Wang Shiyan lowered his head and retreated. He said to Long Fei in a low voice, "It's fine, my father is here. You'll be fine." Long Fei faintly smiled, but did not make a sound. "Actually, it should be them," Su Jianshan said. "City Lord Wang, you have seen how my nephew's legs were broken. Our Su family cannot ignore this matter, even if you are the city lord." He was not afraid of Wang Bodong. Tian Yin City was not surnamed Wang, but Su. The Su family's power was much stronger than the Wang family, so Su Jianshan naturally did not place Wang Bodong in his eyes. Wang Bodong laughed. "I don't need to care about others, but I must care about him because he is now my son-in-law." As soon as he finished, Long Fei was immediately dumbstruck. Wang Shiyan was the same. The 2 of them seemed to have been struck by lightning and stood there in a daze. What was going on? The surrounding crowd went into an uproar. Everyone knew that Wang Shiyan was Su Yu's fiancé. So how did Long Fei become Wang Bodong's son-in-law? It was a bit hard to turn around. Su Jianshan raised his eyebrows and shouted, "What did you say?" Wang Bodong laughed. "My daughter and Su Yu are indeed engaged, but my daughter is already his and already has his flesh and blood. Do you think he is my son-in-law? Heir. I don't have enough brains." Long Fei was stunned, completely dumbfounded. "I'm going to be a father soon." Holy **T. Why didn't I know it myself? Wang Shiyun's face was flushed red. She dared not raise her head to look. "So that's how it is. If even the child has a son-in-law, then what is it? Su Yu's green hat is so good that he doesn't even know he has a child." Ha ha ha. The Su family has lost a lot of face this time. Their fiancé has been tricked by someone. How can they face anyone in the future? The surrounding people discussed amongst themselves. Su Yu's face turned incomparably ugly. From the previous pale white to an ashen white, with a hint of green in the middle. He felt that he did not carry a green hat, but his entire body had turned green. The rage raged. Su Yu roared, "Fifth uncle, kill him, kill him." What a shame. Su Jianshan was also furious. He did not even put the Su family in his eyes. "Wang Bodong, have you thought about the consequences of doing this?" Wang Bodong slightly said, "Su Jianshan, I'm already going to be a grandfather, so I naturally have thought of the consequences." He was giving it his all. "You." Su Jianshan's eyes were brimming with anger. He bellowed, "Disciples of the Su family, listen up." Ha! The brawny men suddenly sank. Wang Bodong was not an easy target as he replied, "Guard of the Tianyun city, listen up." Ha! The sound was even louder as the spear moved and aimed at the Su disciples. Su Jianshan said in a dark voice, "Wang Bodong, you want to start the battle?" Wang Bodong laughed. "You forced the start of the battle." The muscles at the corner of Su Jianshan's eyes twitched. If they were to be compared at this time, then the Su family's reputation would be greatly tarnished, and they would have already been humiliated. "The arrows are in the mystical. I want them too," Su Jianshan said angrily. Today, let's see what you, Wang Bodong, can do. Kill. The disciples of the Su family suddenly moved. Wang Bodong also secretly furrowed his brows. At this point, he would not take even half a step back, and said, "Do it!" It was also at this moment, boom, a powerful aura came crushing down, causing everyone's heart to tremble. Even Long Fei was surprised. What a strong pressure. A figure landed right in the middle of the crowd. He first looked coldly at Long Fei, then looked at Wang Bodong, and said, "City Lord Wang." Boom! Wang Bodong's body trembled slightly as he found it hard to endure. Cold sweat oozed out of his forehead, and his back was covered in a rain of cold sweat. The intense pressure completely suppressed him, rendering him unable to move. He felt extremely uncomfortable. At this time, Long Fei took a step forward and thought to himself, "Ancestor!" Yan Huang Ancestor replied, "Understood." While they were talking, Long Fei pressed a hand on Wang Bodong's back, and at the same time, a strand of Yan Huang Ancestor's aura entered Wang Bodong's body. Boom! An explosive sound resounded in the air, directly blasting Su Tianlei's crushing sky technique out. Moreover, he instantly flipped over and crushed Su Tianlei's mind. His body trembled, and he directly staggered 3 steps back. The blood below his throat roiled, blood was about to spurt out, and he forcefully swallowed it back. Everyone was shocked. Wang Bodong said slightly, "Guild Leader Su, do you have anything to say?" Su Tianlei swept his gaze across the place. The force from earlier was too strong, and he was almost unable to endure it, as he said solemnly, "City Lord Wang, there's still a lot of time to come. I, Su Tianlei, will definitely return the humiliation today tenfold. Let's go." If he didn't leave now, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to take it. He was already injured internally, and his blood was roiling. He had to heal his injuries, not to mention, with the help of an expert from Wang Bodong, even if he did not leave, he would not be able to gain any benefits. And he had more important things to do. Suyu shouted, "Father, avenge me! Kill that brat! Father!" Su Tianlei walked to his side and instantly slapped him. "You scoundrel!" "Pa!" He immediately fainted from a slap. Su Tianlei took another glance at Long Fei before denying in his heart, "It's not him, definitely not. It's simply impossible for someone at the 7th level of the war chief to possess such powerful pressure." Today, Wang Bodong is not afraid at all. He has definitely found a strong rancor to support him. Return to the Su family first. The Su family retreated. Many people cheered. Ha ha ha. Today, the Su family had fallen into a huge mess. Ha ha ha. Awesome. This is simply too great. Especially the 2nd-generation ancestor of the Su family. He was always acting arrogantly, bullying men and bullying women. It was truly displeasing. Just now, he was kneeling like a dead dog. Ha ha ha. I'm dead laughing. He's too handsome. The mayor is mighty. The days of the Su family's arrogance have passed. Long Fei's hand loosened. Wang Bodong's body trembled slightly. In that instant, it was as if all his energy had been sucked out of him. He felt like a giant just now, but now he felt like an ant. http:// Wang Bodong turned around and looked at Long Fei, secretly rejoicing in his heart. "Good boy." Long Fei immediately raised 4 of his fingers and said, "Uncle, I swear I definitely didn't do anything to your daughter, nor did I crack anything. The child in your daughter's stomach is not even worth a dime to me. I swear to the heavens." He had somehow become the father of a child. This was not a loss at all. Chapter 28_8419/2356630. Wang Bodong laughed excitedly. "You're my son-in-law. You won't be able to escape. Wang Bodong laughed excitedly. "You're my son-in-law, you won't be able to escape." Wang Shiyan stomped his feet and called out. "Father!" Wang Bodong grabbed Long Fei and said, "Follow me to the city lord's mansion." Without waiting for Long Fei to reject, he was dragged away by him. Their group of people quickly left as well. Behind them was a skinny youth. The youth's hair was a mess, and his clothes were tattered. He looked just like a beggar. However, in his arms, there was a very fine piece of silk wrapped around something that looked like a long stick. Long Fei glanced at it, but did not take it to heart. The Su family. Suyu woke up after consuming the spirit medicine and cried out in pain, "Father, help me take revenge. Take revenge for me. Kill him. You must kill him no matter what." My legs. Father, am I unable to stand up for the rest of my life? Father. Walking out of the room, Su Tianlei could no longer hold back and vomited a mouthful of blood. Su Jianshan immediately stepped forward to support her. Su Tianlei also slapped his face down and shouted, "I told you not to let Suyu out. Why didn't you listen?" Su Jianshan lowered his head and admitted his wrongs. He said that he was going to the mercenary guild to receive a mission. Why would I think of him? Big brother, how did you get hurt? Wang Bodong is going too far, daring to poop and pee on our Su family, and even bringing a green hat down on our Su family in front of the whole city. Big brother, if you want a nod, I will immediately bring people to flatten the city lord's mansion. Su Jianshan said with incomparable fury. He had just finished. Su Tianlei slapped him again and berated him furiously. "In the future, when you do things, use your brain without any powerful warriors to support you. Does he, Wang Bodong, dare to challenge me?" Puffed. Fury attacked his heart. Su Tianlei spat out another mouthful of blood. Huff. Su Tianlei maintained his true nature and suppressed the anger in his heart, saying, "Right now, we still have important things to do. There's no rush for Wang Bodong's matters. When I finish this, let alone a mere Tianyun city, I will dominate everyone within 100,000 kilometers." It was also at this moment a demonic sound penetrated Su Tianlei's sea of consciousness. Su Tianlei's eyes trembled. He immediately turned to Su Jianshan and said, "Go and select the most elite mercenary disciples. They will be on a mission in the afternoon." Su Jianshan immediately nodded and said, "I will do it." Su Tianlei quickly walked into the room and closed the door, then respectfully greeted, "Lord Shadow Devil." A ball of shadow appeared out of thin air. Its back was facing Su Tianlei. Its voice was heavy as it coldly snorted, "I told you not to cause trouble. Why didn't you listen?" Su Tianlei immediately lowered his head and said, "Master, The silhouette shouted, "Don't say any more. If you don't do this well, your entire Su family will be annihilated." Cold sweat trickled down Su Tianlei's forehead as he said in a heavy tone, "I will definitely give it my all and will not disappoint Sire's effort." And then the shadow moved slightly and 2 magic pills appeared on the table. The silhouette said, "One is for you. It can help your cultivation increase by another level, while the other one can help your son's legs recover at a rapid pace. From now on, you have to listen to my commands." Su Tianlei was extremely touched and said, "Thank you, Lord Shadow Devil." Then he could not help but ask curiously, "Lord Shadow Devil, what exactly is being escorted by the Sea Heaven Merchant Union this time? Can make you do it yourself?" Even he couldn't find out. The Shadow Devil's eyes opened wide. The temperature in the room plummeted. Su Tianlei immediately knelt on the ground, not even daring to take a deep breath. As if a death scythe was resting on his neck, she was in extreme discomfort. "Lord Shadow Devil, please spare me." "Humph! Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. If you ask too many questions, it will only bring you a fatal disaster." The shadow devil's voice was incomparably gloomy. Su Tianlei's head hit the ground, and his body trembled. Even though he was afraid, he was even more curious in his heart. Just what exactly was this thing? Who was the shadow devil? An elder from the Demon Mountain and Sea Sect. His cultivation was unfathomable. This time, he actually went personally. It could be seen that this thing was extraordinary. What was it? After a long time, Su Tianlei slightly raised his body, and only after the phantom demon disappeared did he slowly stand up. He thought to himself, this item must be extremely powerful if I, Su Tianlei, were to obtain it. Ha ha! So what if it's a shadow devil? What is it? People are greedy. Su Tianlei was the same as well. He had been waiting for a lifetime's worth of opportunity. Maybe this time it was his chance to soar into the sky, and he would not easily give it up. Holding the 2 magic pills on the table, he did not consume them immediately. Instead, he walked to his son's room. Suyu was still in so much pain that he was still alive. With both of his legs crippled, ordinary spirit dawn were not enough. Unless it was a heaven-rank spirit Dan, he could only lie on the bed for the rest of his life. Consume this magic pill. Su Tianlei handed it over. Suyu glanced at the pill and said, "Are you a magic pill?" "Father." Su Tianlei glared at the center of his brows and said, "Don't ask too much. Take the pellet." After all, the Tianyun city was still within the sphere of influence of an orthodox sect. Suyu immediately swallowed the pill in excitement. Then, his body underwent an intense change, and his body was in incomparable pain. "Father, what did you feed me? It's too uncomfortable, Father." "Ah, just what is it, Father?" Suyu rolled on the bed. It was as if there were 10,000 insects moving underneath his skin, and his pupils were emitting a demonic light. "Kill me, Father! Kill me!" "Ah." Su Tianlei clenched his fists and said solemnly, "Shadow devil scoundrel." He did not dare to try the magic pill because he was afraid that the shadow devil would harm him, so he let his son try first. He did not regret his cruelty. To him, his son was already a piece of trash with his legs crippled. If he stayed in the Su family, this kind of trash would only embarrass the Su family. It would be better to just die. He was like a tiger that didn't eat its prey. However, he was much more vicious than tigers. Su Tianlei consoled his son when he saw his son in distress. "It's good enough later. It's good enough later." About 10 minutes later, he turned over and stood up, and his eyes flashed with a sinister bloodlight. He recovered himself immediately and stared at Su Tianlei and said with a cold voice, "Father, are you using me as a test subject?" Su Tianlei felt the change in Suyu's body. Now, he had already become a demon. "This is the magic pill." Su Tianlei immediately said, "Why would Father treat you as a test subject? Why don't you take a look at your legs now?" Suyu's eyes turned sinister as he said coldly, "It's best if it's not, or else." In that instant, Baidu search, half afloat a strong killing intent flashed in his eyes. A cold killing intent. Even Su Tianlei felt a chill in his heart as he became excited. Is this the power of a magic pill? The current Suyu was no longer the Suyu of the past. Chapter 38_8419/2356631. City Lord's Mansion. City Lord's Mansion. Ha ha ha. "My good son-in-law, it was you who gave me the spotlight today. Did you see that expression on Su Tianlei's face? It's even uglier than the liver. Ha ha ha." Wang Bodong held onto Long Fei the entire way, and didn't let go, as if he was afraid that Long Fei would run away. Long Fei watched Wang Shiyun all the way. Wang Shiyun also lowered her head and walked on. No one was more confused than her. all the way she thought, "Do you really want to marry Long Fei? Will my father really betroth me to him? Should I reject it? After all, he's my team member, and I'm the guild leader. Isn't that a bit inappropriate? Although he's a bit of a hooligan, he still looks pretty good, and he can say those emotionless words that make people happy. Aya, Wang Shiyun, you must be longing for spring. Will he refuse? I am born beautiful, the #1 beauty of Tianyin City. What reason does he have to reject me? But what if he refused? What do I do? The girl's mind was as complicated as a geometric question. It was so annoying. Returning to the city lord's mansion. Only then did Wang Bodong let go of Long Fei. Long Fei massaged his wrist and asked, "Young lad, what's your name? Where are you from? Are my parents alive? How old are you? You have a family? Who taught you how to cultivate your cultivation?" Rollo chattered away like an old woman. Long Fei was dumbstruck. And then a sentence came out of his mouth. "Uncle, I already have a wife." Huh. The two of them were shocked at the same time. Wang Shiyun was obviously feeling a little down. Her heart was suddenly empty, as if something was missing. Wang Bodong was stunned for half a second and said, "So what if you have a wife? Which man doesn't have 3 wives and 4 concubines? All the strong are in groups of wives. What's wrong with that?" Right. Long Fei never thought that Wang Bodong would actually be so open-minded to the point that his daughter was willing to let him be a child. However, Wang Shiyun walked dejectedly in another direction. Shiyun, why did you leave?" Wang Bodong immediately went over and shouted. Wang Shiyun was a little unable to control himself as tears welled up in the corner of his eyes. He sobbed softly. "Father, he already said that he has a wife. Can't you make out what he means?" "I refuse." Rejected. Although she was prepared on the way here, she still couldn't accept it. Long Fei's heart also shivered. This was the first time he felt that it was not good to reject someone else. However, in his previous life, he had also confessed to it. Every time. Reject. Could it be that they were feeling the same pain as him at that time? Of course. He was overthinking it. Long Fei muttered to himself, "It's better to be late than early. I can't possibly lie to her, right? Sigh. Being handsome is also a sin." She didn't want Jojo to be like the leopard girl, not like the 3 sisters, not like Yuan Ling, who only gave her a normal, beautiful feeling, was just a beautiful girl, nothing more. Looking at Wang Shiyun sobbing, Long Fei felt some regret in his heart. Walking forward, he said, "Leader, the mission is going to start in the afternoon. Do you still want to go?" In the blink of an eye, Wang Bodong was startled, then immediately became serious, and said, "Both of you are not allowed to go." Long Fei and Wang Shiyun said at the same time, "We are going." Wang Shiyun glanced at Long Fei, and her expression immediately recovered back to normal. This was her first mission, and she had to complete it no matter what. She didn't want a man. She wanted to become the leader of the king's army. The strongest king was her true target. Long Fei had to go even more. The mission had to be completed. And also, magic Buddhist relics must be obtained. Yen Huang ancestor did not talk about many good things. Wang Bodong looked at them and said, "This mission is much more dangerous than you imagined. Furthermore, I have already received news that the Su's mercenary corps will escort you and Su Tianlei will personally escort you." Wang Shiyun was startled. "What? And he's called Su's mercenary corps?" Long Fei was not shocked because he found out about this matter last night. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "So what? Do you think I would be afraid of Su Tianlei?" Wang Shiyun immediately said forcefully, "That's right. We will let him experience the battle power of the strongest king. Humph. He put his hands on his waist, and his chest vibrated slightly as it swung back and forth. Long Fei's eyes almost sunk in. Wang Bodong coughed and said, Su Tianlei is just one of them. I am afraid he will be the smallest problem during the escort mission. Do you know what these things are? Long Fei and Wang Shiyan shook their heads. All they knew was that it was a magic box. They didn't know what was inside. Wang Bodong lowered his voice and said, It's God's devil blood, 3 magic Buddhist relics, and a handful of God's devil loot and God's devil blade. These things are supreme beings of the demon race. Think about what kind of opponents you will meet along the way. The entire demon race knows. The blood refinement sect, the mountain and sea sect, the blood sea sect, the 8 major sects of the devil race are all involved. A small Su Tianlei is nothing compared to them. It was all a coincidence that he knew. The reason he had rushed to Mercenary Guild today was to stop his daughter from continuing. It didn't matter who took up the task. In the end, there was only one result: death. It was a death mission. With the fall of the heavenly demons, the demons turned into scattered sands, each fighting on their own. Now, the god's devil blood had appeared. This was a signal. Whoever obtains the god's devil blood can become the supreme devil king of the South Horizon region, and they can command demons. Thus, on the surface, everything seemed calm, but in reality, it wasn't. Long Fei and Wang Shiyan were stunned. Wang Bodong laughed proudly. You must be scared. Give up this mission quickly. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei himself was excited. Wow, so many good things. Mine, it's all mine. Ha ha ha. I'll accept this mission. Just thinking about it made him excited. This was even better than killing a boss. Moreover, what did it mean for the 8 great demon sects to come and snatch it? This meant that a large wave of experience was approaching him. A large wave of spirit, treasure, true chi was approaching him. How could he give it up? If he gave up, then he wouldn't be called Long Fei. Wang Shiyan's face was also filled with shock. He said, So my mission was a hidden quest. This is at least an S-rank quest. If it is completed, my King's Legion's name will shake the world. I can't give up. Long Fei, follow me out now. I have completed this mission. Long Fei scratched his head. Isn't it better to go out? Wang Bodong almost fainted from anger. He thought that the two of them were scared stiff. He never thought that they would be so excited. Before he could react, Long Fei and Wang Shiyan then walked out of the city lord's mansion. At the door, that raggedy old man was as thin as firewood. He held a long stick in each hand and carefully asked, Are you guys still recruiting other team members? It was also at this time, =semi/floating life plus, the 8 King Kong systems suddenly sounded out. Ding. Chapter 4, it was 6 in the morning, and Hai Yang still had some important matters to attend to. There was another chapter today. If the 5th chapter didn't update today, then it would be updated tomorrow. Thank you for your monthly tickets. Thank you. 8_8419/2356632. The system suddenly sounded out. The system suddenly sounded out. Long Fei was startled. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the quest. Mission: subdue Rohan level. A time: 1 month reward. 10,000 experience, 1,000 true chi, 1,000 points. Any S rank reward will be special. The system beep ended. Long Fei's heart trembled. Arhut? What an interesting name. And why did the 8 King Kong systems sound the notification? Could it be that this skinny guy with a match in front of him is one of the 8 great King Kong? Old man, can you see anything? Yen Huang ancestor thought for a moment, then said, I can't tell yet, but The rod in his hand is very special. There is an extremely strong demonic energy. It should be in Vajra pestle. It might be a special holy artifact. It's not wrong. It's definitely a special holy artifact. My perception of good things is definitely not wrong. The Arhut did not display any power. He could not tell, but the holy artifact, and the like, he was the most powerful. Long Fei was secretly shocked. Special holy artifact? What exactly is it? Wang Shiyun was shocked and immediately asked, "What do you know?" Just as he finished asking, she seemed to have thought of something and changed her words. "We won't be recruiting members for now. If you want to join our king's army, then wait for us to come back. You can then join us." This mission was very dangerous. Out of kindness, she didn't want to involve Arhut in it and lose her life for nothing. Arhut was a bit anxious and said, "Big sister, I can do anything. I can do laundry and cook, pull the carriage, and carry the sack. I can do anything, so just take me along with you." There was a hint of pleading in his eyes. No one wanted to take him in. He had been in the Tianyun city for 3 months and was basically hungry for 3 months. No mercenary group was willing to take him in because he was weak, because of what he was wearing, because he was like a beggar on the street. No one would even look at him, let alone recruit him into their mercenary group. Wang Shiyun was at a loss. "I'm really sorry. We are going to take a mission. This mission is very dangerous. You should wait for us to come back." Arhut became even more anxious and said, "Sister, please accept me. I can really do anything. I can eat any kind of suffering." "Yes." Without waiting for Wang Shiyun to reject, Long Fei put a hand on Arhut's shoulder and said, "From today onwards, you will be a member of our king's army." Arhut's body trembled. His hands held onto the Vajra pestle that was hidden under his tattered robe tighter. He was a little nervous, afraid that Long Fei would notice something and retreat half a step, and he bowed while saying with gratitude, "Thank you, thank you." Wang Shiyun held on to Long Fei and asked, "What are you doing? Don't you know how dangerous this mission is? You still have him. You're letting him die." Long Fei said, "I'm still bringing you just one more person." He was very interested in this Arhut now. He thought to himself, 8 System Beep, just what King Kong is he? Demon Fighter Vajra, Sword Force King Kong, and he's even from Arrogant Knife King Kong. No matter what King Kong, only you are one of the 8 great King Kong. I, Long Fei, will definitely surrender to you. Even though Arhut was wary of him, but Long Fei was not worried. As long as it was his brother, he would cherish it with his life. Wang Shiyun stared at Long Fei and said, "I am the guild leader. I do not allow you to send people into the army randomly." Long Fei looked at Wang Shiyun seriously and said, "If you continue to be like this, I won't let you play anymore." "All right. This time, you are in charge." Wang Shiyun immediately shriveled up. Flipping his face was faster than flipping a book. Long Fei looked at Arhut and said, "From today onwards, you are a member of the strongest king. Go and prepare yourself." Arhut scratched his head and said, "There's nothing to prepare. I can leave now." He was alone. He slept on the street every day and ate the leftovers of someone else's food. He did not know how he managed to survive. During these 3 months, he did not even know why he was still alive. Long Fei said, "Then let's go." Wang Shiyun took the lead and walked at the very front, showing her leader's and big sister's might. She was also worried that her father would catch up with them. Hence they walked very fast. Long Fei wanted to walk side by side with the Arhut, but Arhut was always at the back, following with his head lowered, as if he was feeling very inferior. As he walked to the end of the street, the fragrance of steamed buns, which had just come out of the oven, wafted into the air. Arhut lightly paused for a moment, then cleared his throat. At this time, Long Fei walked forward and said, "Give me 100 steamed buns." After paying the money, he said to Arhut, "Take it." Arhut walked forward, continuously swallowing his saliva. It had been a few days since he had eaten his fill. Looking at the fragrant steamed buns, his stomach rumbled. However, he did not eat, because the one on top of Long Fei didn't let him eat it. Half an hour later, the three of them walked to the inn. An assistant ran up and protected Long Fei's thighs and said, "Brother, I will return the spirit stones to you. You guys can go. I beg of you. If we continue to eat like this, our store is going to go bankrupt." Long Fei was shocked. The hall was surrounded by people, and all of them were looking at one person, Li Yuanba. The plates beside him were piled up like a small mountain. All of them were completely bare. Not a single bit was left. Li Yuanba shouted loudly, "Boss, give us 100 more portions. It's not enough to eat." Plop. The storekeeper's eyes turned into those of a panda's. It was obvious that he was beaten up. He knelt on the ground and wailed, "Are you my biological grandfather? There really is nothing left to eat in our restaurant. Please be merciful and take a rest. Don't eat anymore." Li Yuanba said naively, "If there's no dishes, then do you have rice? It's fine if there's rice. First, a bucket will be served, and finally a bucket the size of a bath barrel." The shopkeeper was speechless. Even rice needed to be filled in a bucket? What kind of concept was this? Ever since Long Fei went out in the morning, Li Yuanba had been cooking and did not stop. He ate up all the food in the shop by himself. The wine was gone. Now all that was left was rice. Li Yuanba glared and shouted, My boss told me that if anyone dares to say that I ate too much, I will beat them up. Do you want to be beaten up?" The shopkeeper's body trembled, and his face immediately paled. He immediately said, "I'll go cook it for you. Do you want me to cook it for you?" When he stood up and saw Long Fei, he immediately handed over the 2 spirit stones, as if he was looking at his father. Li Yuanba turned around and looked at Long Fei, who was at the door. He gave a silly smile and said, "Boss, you're back?" Long Fei was dumbstruck. Seeing that Li Yuanba did not have any protruding stomach, he really wanted to ask, "Where did all those things you ate go?" Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Li Yuanba suddenly stood up. His footsteps moved bang, and the entire inn was trembling. The floor beneath his feet even directly shattered as he walked past Long Fei to the Arhut's side. His eyes filled with excitement as he asked, "Who are you?" It was unknown why Luo Han's body was trembling and boiling with energy. Looking at Li Yuanba's muscular body, he was also a little excited and said, "Demon fighter Luo Han." In that instant, Long Fei became excited. The second one from the 8 Great King Kong, the demon subduing Vajra. The 5th chapter arrived a little late. The sea is sorry. 8_8419/2356633. Demon fighter Arhut. Demon fighter Arhut. It was a very cool name. This naturally made Long Fei think of the 2nd King Kong, the King Kong of the 8 King Kong systems. Immediately, his heart became excited. Li Yuanba is a holy King Kong, a Titan god blood vein, born with godly strength. What would a demon subduing Vajra be? I'm really looking forward to it. Long Fei was excited in his heart, but he did not express it. Li Yuanba and Arhut felt at first sight. The God Realm warrior, Li Yuanba. The age difference between the two was 5 or 6 years, but when Li Yuanba first saw the Arhut, he immediately fell in love with it. Li Yuanba asked foolishly, "Boss, can you bring him along?" Long Fei laughed. "He is already our brother." Wang Shiyun stared at Long Fei, feeling that he was different from the others. Furthermore, hearing the words demon fighter from the Arhut, Li Yuanba saying God fighter made her a little confused as she didn't understand the situation. However, she was too lazy to think any further and said, "You guys pack up. I'll go find my employer." Longfei said, "Go." Looking at the hot steamed buns in Arhut's hands, he didn't eat a single one, even though his stomach was growling in hunger from the street to the inn. Longfei said, "Arhut, I bought those steamed buns for you to eat." Arhut looked at Longfei with his eyes flickering with gratitude. Li Yuanba took out 2 big white buns and said, "Oh, all 3, go ahead and eat. Our boss treats us so well. Hurry up and eat." It was also at this time Longfei looked at the shopkeeper and said, "Stir in a few more dishes and a jug of good wine. The shopkeeper doesn't even have anything good. If you say it like that, then we won't be leaving." The storekeeper immediately reacted, "Yes, yes, yes, all of them." 10 minutes later, with 3 simple dishes, Li Yuanba laid on the table, watched the Arhut eat madly, and then laughed foolishly as he said, "Eat, eat. It's not enough for us to order more." The manager almost fell to the ground in fright when he heard this. Arhut's mouth was full of stuff, his eyes were wet, and his heart was moved to a complete mess. Longfei took out a spirit stone, threw it into the shopkeeper's hands, and said, "Go and buy him a few sets of better clothes. Also, 1 more coat and robe." The shopkeeper took the spirit stone and swiftly ran out. "It will be here soon." Since he was sure that it was the demon subduing Vajra, Longfei would not be stingy. He would never be stingy towards a brother. Half an hour later, the shopkeeper ran back with a few sets of gorgeous clothes in hand, panting for breath. Longfei said to Arhut, "You are now one of us. Change into some clean clothes, and we will be leaving soon." Li Yuanba immediately grabbed the clothes and pulled the Arhut into the backyard. At this time, Wang Shiyun and the old man walked out. When the old man saw Longfei, he smiled and said, "Young hero Long, I'll have to trouble you this time. When we reach the Sea Demon King's city, I will keep my promise." Longfei said, "These words of yours are enough. Magic Buddhist relics?" He had to get it. As for the other things, God's Devil Blood S, God's Devil Loot S, God's Devil Blade S. This was simply a demonic set. These things, Longfei smiled weirdly in his heart. 10 days later, Li Yuanba and Arhut walked out. The Arhut had washed up, tied up in a bun, cleaned the filth on his face, and a strand of spirit energy appeared between his brows. It was a very special feeling. On his back, there was something wrapped in a long robe. It was as long as a stick. Longfei said to the old man, "He's my new teammate. He will also participate in this mission." The old man looked at Arhut and smiled. "Good, good, good. We are lacking manpower right now. 1 more person means a bit of strength. Let's go." Li Yuanba ran to the backyard, carried the huge sarcophagus, and walked to the Arhut's side. He laughed foolishly. "Oh, all 3, let's go." He had already treated Arhut as his brother. Boss Longfei, he's number 2, and Arhut is number 3. Arhut looked at the huge sarcophagus on Li Yuanba's back, and his heart trembled. Looking at Li Yuanba's silly and innocent appearance, he smiled lightly. It was the first time he had smiled at someone. Longfei and Li Yuanba made him feel close. "Let's go." The elder gave an order. "Go through the north gate." "North gate." Wang Shiyun's brows immediately tightened. Longfei asked, "What's wrong?" Wang Shiyun shook his head and said, "It's nothing. The best place to go to see Demon City is from the west gate." And Wang Shiyun said in a low voice, "The north gate leads to the dark forest." The old man explained, "The dark forest is a temporary decision. Along the way, there will be too many dangers. We have to be vigilant." No one knew that he would choose that path. He believed that the journey from the West Gate to the Sea Demon City was fraught with dangers. The news of him escorting the heavenly demon saint must have leaked out. The people from the 8 demon sects would definitely not let him off so easily. There might even be people from sections. The reason why they didn't make a move in Tianyun City was because they were waiting for someone to make the first move and the best opportunity to kill. The only thing he could do was to constantly change his route, and no one would have thought of that. Longface secretly asked, "Dark Forest?" Immediately, thinking about how Mercenary Guild had a few tasks in the Dark Forest, he immediately said to Wang Shiyun, "You guys go first. I'll be right back." Right now, he really needed mercenary points. He wanted to give the Heart of Ancient Fairy Tree a mission, since it was on the way anyway, so he naturally wouldn't let it go. Wang Shiyun wanted to stop him, but Long Fei did not stop him at all. I stopped for a moment and looked at Long Fei's disappearing figure. My eyes moved. Humph! Who's the guild leader? Wang Shiyun stamped his foot angrily, stared at Li Yuanba and Arhut, and said, "You two are not allowed to be like him. You have to listen to the guild leader's words." Only the guild leader can decide everything. Li Yuanba and Arhut glanced at Wang Shiyun and said, "Oh, at the same time, then." There was no sign of her. Wang Shiyun was so angry that he almost went berserk. And guild leader? Captain my ass. The 4 of them walked to the north entrance of Tianyun City. 300 Su's Mercenary Corps elites were waiting at the city gate as Su Tianlei sat on the body of a blazing tiger. A mount, as long as he was the only one who owned a mount in Tianyun City. Furthermore, it was a 3rd-level peak domesticated demon beast. Beside Su Tianlei was a man wearing a black robe and a black cloak. Seeing the old man's group walk over, Su Tianlei did not dismount from his mount, and instead said lightly, "Since you're here, come out now." Wang Shiyun looked at Su Tianlei, and his gaze landed on the man in the black cloak, and his heart shivered. Demon? Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system. It was also at this time. The cloaked man took off his cloak, revealing an extremely sinister sneer, and said coldly, "Wang Shiyun, we meet again." The cloaked man, Su Yu, the Su Yu of the Infernal Queen, Chapter 18_8419/2356634. Su Yu was completely different. Su Yu was completely different. The aura exuding from his body was even more vigorous and powerful than the aura emitted by his father, Su Tianlei, especially that pair of sinister eyes, which made one's hair stand on end. Wang Shiyun's eyes turned sinister. He shook slightly and said, "Su Yu, your leg." The kneecap was crushed, and it was cured in less than half a day. Su Yu sneered. "What? Are you disappointed that my leg is healed?" No. Wang Shiyun said, "Your leg is fine. It has nothing to do with me." Humph. Su Yu let out a cold snort and said, "Wang Shiyun, the road is very long. We have plenty of time to get involved." He. Finished. He glanced behind Wang Shiyun, but did not see Long Fei at all. With a frown, he coldly laughed. "Where's your little lover?" "That grandson is looking for grandpa." Long Fei rushed over, and when he saw the bewitched Su Yu, he was secretly shocked. The morning punch was very powerful. His kneecap had shattered, but he did not expect it to be restored in just a few hours, and the cultivation aura being released from his body was extremely dense. Long Fei thought, "This is bedeviled." Su Yu's brows twitched and said sinisterly, "It's good that you're here. I'm really afraid that you won't come." The elder coughed lightly and walked forward, saying, "Since everyone knows each other, there is no need for me to introduce you further. We are now on the same boat. As long as you can escort me to the Sea Devil Emperor safely, you will be satisfied with the payment. A glint flashed across Su Tianlei's eyes, and he said slightly, "As for the obscenities, we are only responsible to you. As for some cats and dogs, we will definitely not protect them." Wang Shiyan was instantly in a bad mood and said, "Who's a cat or dog?" Then Wang Shiyan also said, "Our strongest king's mercenary group is only responsible to you. As for the rats and the poop maggots in the fecal pit, we will absolutely not protect them. The most powerful king, ha 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 ha, ha ha ha." The hundreds of people from Su's mercenary corps all laughed. Long Fei raised his eyes slightly, his gaze sweeping across them as he scolded, "I'm laughing at you." Li Yuanba took a step forward, his big feet shaking. He pointed at those who were laughing. "Which one of you dare to laugh again for me?" An incomparably domineering aura instantly crushed down. Everyone's face turned cold. They did not dare to continue laughing. Su Tianlei endured his anger. He had a reason for coming this time. He could not delay any further just because of Long Fei, and said, "It's getting late, let's hurry up." The old man immediately said, "Let's hurry. Let's hurry." Su Tianlei asked, "Which way do you want to go?" The old man replied, "To the dark forest." "Huh." Su Tianlei frowned. He stopped for half a second and said, "Su's mercenary corps, listen up, target dark forest. All of you come out." Wang Shiyan also shouted out loud, "The strongest king's mercenary group, listen up, target dark forest. Everyone come out." Li Yuanba dug his ears out and said, "My ears are about to break from your vibrations. Why are you talking so loudly? We're not deaf." Then they all walked forward, completely ignoring her. The leader of the strongest beast kings. Too bitter. Wang Shiyan was about to go berserk. City Lord's mansion. City Lord, the little miss, and the others have left. They are going through the north gate, so they must be trying to escape through the dark forest and enter the sea demon's territory. Wang Bodong frowned slightly. Dark forest? He thought about it. Wang Bodong's heart sank and said, "The dark forest is closer to the Blood Sea sect. Could it be that he is related to the people of the Blood Sea sect?" "Humph. Go inform the Zephyr Guild and tell them that they are going to the North Gate. There's no need to say anything else," Wang Bodong said. One of the guards immediately said, "As you command." Then he quickly retreated. Wang Bodong began to ponder. The dark forest, right? This should be the best hiding place, or the route of disappearance. What a clever plan. At this moment, Wang Bodong seemed to have completely changed. Other than the Tianyun City Lord, he also had another identity, an inner court elder of the Strong Gale sect. He was the person that the Zephyr Guild had arranged to monitor the movements of the demons. He had always kept it hidden. Wang Bodong looked into the sky and thought, "It's time for me to leave as well." Almost at the same time, the 8 demon sects all received the news and left through the north gate, entering the dark forest. The dark forest is too big. Where are they going to pass by? Not to mention a few hundred people. Even if tens of thousands of people were to enter the dark forest, finding them would still be like looking for a needle in a haystack. This old fox really knows how to scheme. We don't know. Some people do. The people from the 8 demon sects were well aware of this. So, none of them were in a hurry. In another place, at the inn where Long Fei and the rest were staying, the innkeeper and the waiter knelt on the ground, trembling all over. The shopkeeper said, "Lord Demon Lord, they have already left. I really do not know where they are going. Please spare our little lives." "Lord Demon Lord, I have an old man on me and a little boy on me. I beg of you, please be merciful." In the yard, 2 old men dressed in black robes. One of them closed his eyes, and his aura spread to every corner of the courtyard. Half a minute later, he nodded at the other elder and said, "This is the place." They were the experts of the demonic sect. The god's devil ancestor had fallen, the demonic sect had been destroyed, and the two of them were one of the few people here. They were the guardians of the heavenly demon sect. One was called Gu Hun, and the other was Wild Ghost. The Tianyin city was too big. With such a large population, even if they were experts from the devil sect, it would still be very difficult to pinpoint their exact location. Old devil, it seems like we didn't find the wrong place. Lonely Soul said in a low voice. Wild Ghost said excitedly, when the demonic lord reappears in the human world, our demonic sect will definitely rise again. Gu Hun said, old man, his aura is very weak, his cultivation base should be weak. We must find him as soon as possible and protect him. Wild Ghost's brows shook. If anyone dares to touch our young master, I will definitely annihilate all 18 generations of their ancestors. As soon as he finished, the two of them transformed into a ball of light and disappeared into the sky above the north. The shopkeeper got up from the ground and said in a shaky voice, the heavenly demon has reappeared in the human world, right here in this courtyard. Then, immediately, an image of Long Fei appeared in his mind. His heart shivered. He was so scared that his face turned pale, and he said in a stern voice, no matter who asks, you are not allowed to tell anyone about them coming to the inn, or else even if you, and I have 10 lives, it won't be enough. Understand? The waiter nodded like a chick pecking rice. Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system in another place. Gu Hun kept the remnant soul that he had left behind in the yard and smiled. You're quite tactful. If the shopkeeper and the waiter had any thoughts, then the two of them were already dead. This was the heavenly demon sect. Chapter 28_19/2356635. 3 days later. 3 days later. At the edge of the dark forest, Su Tianlei waved his hand and ordered everyone to rest in place. They were about to enter the dark forest, so they had to take a good rest and get themselves organized. Su Tianlei jumped down from the blazing tiger's body, walked to the old man's side, and said, the dark forest is different from other forests. The dark forest was incomparably dangerous. All the demon beasts here were of the darkness element. The old man frowned slightly and looked at Long Fei, who was not far away. Hearing Su Tianlei's words, Long Fei said, no problem, we can obey the allocation, but don't treat us like cannon fodder. He knew this team had to be unified in command, otherwise, not to mention meeting the demon powerhouses, even the demon beast in the dark forest would be more than enough for them. Letting out a breath, the elder spoke, then we shall kneel to Captain Su and command. Su Tianlei smiled as he looked at Long Fei with a pleased expression. I'll go and take care of this on the road. Later, I'll send people to pass down your tasks. With that, he turned and left. Wang Shiyun walked over and said, how can you agree to listen to his commands? We have mercenary groups like him. She was not convinced. Long Fei said, his is a rank, but yours is what rank? Wang Shiyun lowered his head and said, level D. Long Fei reprimanded and said, is it really level D? That day, I already knew the rank of the mercenary group. Wang Shiyun lowered his head even more and said, all right, we are at the preparatory level. What is the preparatory level? It was just that there was no level. How could a newly established mercenary group have any levels? Wang Shiyun said firmly. As long as we complete this mission, we will have enough points to level up, and at that time, we will be level D. Long Fei rolled his eyes at her and said, then why didn't you say you're a king's heir? Wang Shiyun muttered and said, I want to say king level, but I'm afraid you won't believe me. Long Fei let out a heavy breath. The world is so beautiful, but I'm actually in such pain. Not good, not good, not good at all. after calming himself down. He said, "From now on, all of you will be under my control. You understand?" Wang Shiyun said weakly, "I am the guild leader." Looking at Long Fei's fierce eyes, he immediately changed his words and said, "As you command." Half an hour later, a Su's mercenary corps man walked over with a disdainful look on his face. With an aura of superiority, he said, "Our guild leader has ordered for you to send one person. We will send 5 people to form the reconnaissance unit. In 5 minutes." Finished. That person sneered and said, "Have you decided who to go to?" Long Fei looked at Li Yuanba. The Lubi's brain was weak. He was not suitable for opening up a path. Also, the 5 members of the Su family would definitely trap him. So he could not go. Wang Shiyun, she was just a strong talker. Useless. Without waiting for Long Fei's decision, the Arhut took a step forward and said faintly, "I'll go." Long Fei asked seriously, "Can you do it?" Arhut looked at the pitch-black forest and said, "It should be possible." Long Fei said to the Su disciple, "You can go back first. I'll send someone over later." That Su family disciple coldly snorted and said, "Hurry. No one has even set up a mercenary group. What a shame." Long Fei didn't bother about a fly, walked to Arhut's side, took out 10 high-grade healing pills, and said, "Take these pills. Be careful. If you can't win, run. Don't be afraid of losing face. Also, you have to be especially careful of the Su family." Arhut didn't accept the pill, but was still very grateful in his heart and said, "I can do it without a pill." Long Fei stuffed the medicinal pellet into his hands and said, "I told you to take it, so take it." Arhut said heavily, "Thank you. If you ever mention the word thank me to me again in the future, you wouldn't be my Long Fei's brothers." Long Fei shouted. He looked at the Arhut and said sternly, "No matter what happens, do not be afraid. Leave everything to me." Arhut nodded and said, "I'll go." In his heart, he wasn't resisting Long Fei. But Long Fei had not yet walked into his heart. In other words, the task of taming Arhut was yet to be completed. Long Fei was not in a hurry. There was still time. The 5 of them quickly entered the dark forest. Su Tianlei also said, loudly, "We will enter in 10 minutes." Long Fei muttered, "I hope something has happened." Li Yuanba laughed foolishly. "Boss, don't worry. Nothing will happen to OL3. Long Fei looked at Li Yuanba. He had yet to understand why Li Yuanba acted like this the moment he saw the Arhut, so he asked, "How do you know?" Li Yuanba said to Long Fei in a low voice, "Boss, Old Third is very strong." "Huh." Long Fei looked at Li Yuanba's serious expression and thought, could it be that he has the ability to see other people's true strength? Even the Yen Huang ancestor couldn't see through it. So how could he see through it? Was it his God-Eater ability, or the ability of the divine spirit blood vein? 10 minutes later, Su Tianlei once again mounted the scorching tiger and loudly said, "Come out." Everyone entered the dark forest. There were Su's mercenary corps' special markings all along the way. He did not encounter any demon beast. This was only the periphery of the forest, so the absence of demon beast was also within reason. The further in he went, the harder it became. The aura here was different from other mountain ranges as well. The dense aura of darkness was like death, hell, gloom, and also the aura of devils. After walking for about 2 hours, the corpse of a level 1 monster appeared. It had just been killed not long ago. Su Tianlei slightly reminded him and said, "Be extra careful. Right now, we are entering the territory where dark demon beasts roam about, and there might be one or a group of demon beasts rushing out at any time." He was experienced and soon felt that the atmosphere here was different from the one outside the forest. Long Fei said in a low voice, "Yuan Ba, you are in charge of protecting the guild leader and the employer, no matter who it is, including Su Tianlei and the others. If anyone dared to touch you, with a single word, kill." Li Yuanba nodded his head heavily. The jungle was getting denser, and the visibility was getting dimmer. It was basically the same as the night. Everyone was moving forward, relying on their cultivation level and eyesight. Suddenly, in front of him, there was a flock of flying beasts. "There's a problem." And in that instant, Long Fei ran out. Su Tianlei's voice sunk as he shouted, "What are you trying to do?" "You're not allowed to go." Long Fei completely ignored him. The corner of Su Tianlei's mouth lifted, and he did not stop them either. He said with a cold smile, "Right now, it's already over. If you rush over, your people might already have gone to see Hades." "Ha ha! You want to play with me? I'll play you to death." Strongest upgrade system. Su Tianlei had been thinking of a way to deal with Long Fei from the very beginning, since the dark forest was the best place. However, Long Fei ran several hundred meters away and stood in place in a daze. With his mouth agape, his heart was set ablaze. Chapter 38_8419/2356636. In front of his eyes. In front of his eyes. In his hand was a magical staff. King Kong exorcism wand. The aura emitted from his body was completely different from that of an ordinary martial artist, as if it was the power of Buddhist light. It was also like the power of purification. None of this is the point. The point was, with him at the center, a circle of demon beast was poured onto the ground. Moreover, these dark demon beasts all died in one move. One of them was a level 5 dark demon beast. It was a very terrifying power. The 5 members of the Sioux mercenaries were dumbfounded as they fell to the ground, paralyzed. "No, don't kill me. Don't kill me." There was no killing intent in Arhot's eyes. Instead, his pupils suddenly shrank as he saw Long Fei, who was not far away. Zhang Xian's face tightened, somewhat panically. He quickly wrapped the King Kong exorcism wand in a robe. The moment he was wrapped up, he returned to his weak and fragile appearance. One day, one floor after another, 2 completely different people. The breath that had been released just a moment ago had even shocked Long Fei. But now, there was no aura at all. Long Fei asked, "Has Ancestor seen it clearly?" The Yen Huang ancestor thought for a moment, then said, "The power of the evil killing, the King Kong exorcism wand in his hands, he is the reincarnation of the Holy Buddha, but all of his power came from that magic staff. His own strength is too weak, and he can't even control the magic staff strength. Kid, you must not let him find out the next time you go insane. Otherwise, it would be impossible to subdue him. If the power of the Holy Buddha in his body is released, then that would be interesting. Hee hee." Reincarnation of the Holy Buddha. Long Fei's heart trembled and thought to himself, "Good fellow, is this the power of a demon fighter?" Long Fei was excited, looking at the Arhut, felt the same way as looking at Li Yuanba. Hong Tianjun had the Sky Sect. They were extremely powerful. Hong Tianjun was the #1 genius of the South Horizon region. The way of the sword. His martial arts attainments were invincible. Long Fei didn't have anything. Long family was still at the young bird stage, unable to fight against the Heaven Sect. If Long Fei wanted to completely crush Hong Tianjun with just his cultivation alone, that was not enough. He needed even more power. His power. If all 8 of them were gathered together, if I awakened them all, this power was too powerful, too arrogant, and too tyrannical. Think about it. Long Fei brought the 8 great King Kong to stand at the gates of the Heaven Sect for a moment, then looked at the scene in front of them. He was so handsome that he fell to the ground. Long Fei stared at the Arhut like a gay man. Arhut was a bit embarrassed. Long Fei. Wang Shiyun's shout came from behind him. Long Fei also quickly regained his composure, pretended that he didn't see anything, and said, "I didn't see anything. We have nothing. Nothing." The 5 of them looked at more things than Long Fei ever had seen. Their pupils were unfocused, and they were probably scared to death, directly becoming stupefied. Su Tianlei and the rest caught up and asked the surrounding demon beast and the 5 Su family disciples while looking at them, "What's going on?" "I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know. Almost at the same time, the 5 disciples who were at the peak of the war chief crawled up at the same time and crazily rushed into the dark forest. It didn't matter how Su Tianlei tried to stop him. Half a minute later, a disciple was torn apart by a dark demon beast. Su Tianlei's eyes were filled with fury as he suddenly moved and landed in front of the Arhut. The aura on his body fiercely rushed out and directly blasted the Arhut flying. Bam! The Arhut flew a few meters and fell to the ground. Su Tianlei took another step forward and asked solemnly, "Speak, what happened just now?" Li Yuanba was immediately enraged. He bellowed, "You dare bully old third, I will kill you." Arhut looked at Long Fei. Long Fei grabbed Li Yuanba and said with a sunken voice, "I'm here, what are you afraid of?" Finished. Long Fei's figure suddenly appeared beside Arhut and helped him up from the ground and said, "What? Didn't you see? Your people have gone insane from the fear of Demon Beast. What a class mercenary group. What Tianyun City's #1 Legion. They are just that kind of trash. To be scared of other Demon Beast. They are really useless." Long Fei laughed in disdain. Su Tianlei was enraged. His eyes darkened as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, say it again if you dare." Long Fei's heart trembled when he looked at Su Tianlei because, from his gaze, he felt that Su Tianlei had probably become bewitched too. However, so what if he was bewitched? Long Fei was not afraid in the slightest. He coldly snorted and said, "So what if I say it 10 times? Su Tianlei, if you dare touch my people again, I will die you." A powerful qi burst out from Long Fei's body. He really wasn't afraid of Su Tianlei. It was also at this moment the staff on Arhut's back suddenly started trembling lightly. Su Tianlei glared angrily at Long Fei as his eyes twitched. He was filled with killing intent. Killing intent rose in the heart of Tianyun City. If it wasn't for the fact that he was worried about the mission given by the Shadow Devil, he would have done it already. The magic staff on Arhut's back trembled even more violently. The sound of the King Kong ring striking against the staff was extremely intense. The aura in the dark forest also became strange. Suddenly, a dark violent bear rushed out. After one violent bear rushed out, the surroundings were densely packed with dark demon beast. Su Tianlei's eyes darkened, and he shouted, "Attack by a group of demon beast! Defense!" "Kid, don't be too arrogant." Long Fei grinned. "Arrogant is my personality. If you're not happy, then let's fight." "Humph, there will be a day like that." Su Tianlei's toes lightly touched the ground and instantly landed on the back of the raging tiger. He took out a golden blade and shouted, "Defense!" The King Kong exorcism wand on the back of the Arhut was still crazily trembling. His face was also filled with shock. He looked at Long Fei, a little at a loss. Long Fei slightly said, "Don't worry, no one will dare to touch you." At the same time, Long Fei shouted loudly and said, "Captain, take good care of your employer. Yuanba, get ready to fight." Li Yuanba grinned and laughed simple-mindedly. "I've long been unable to endure my hunger and thirst. Ha ha ha." Finished. With both of his hands, he pulled up a towering tree beside him and fiercely threw it out. "I'll smash you guys to death." The entire Sue's mercenary corps was scared silly. The heck? What kind of power was this? He was simply a monster. Li Yuanba easily followed Long Fei and rushed out. Long Fei grabbed with his right hand, summoned his dragon Salyer, and laughed in disdain. The best defense is to attack. Baidu search, half afloat at this time. Arhut still didn't move. The demon fighter Vajra staff on his back was still vibrating heavily. Finally, he suddenly shouted, "There's magic!" Chapter 48_19/2356637. He was about to lose control of the King Kong exorcism wand. He was about to lose control of the King Kong exorcism wand. The tremors were too great. It was almost out of his control. Long Fei was shocked, looking at the Arhut's painful expression. His heart sank a little as he thought to himself, "Ancestor, is there any way to help him?" The Yen Huang ancestor said, "The reincarnation of the Holy Buddha, the heart of devils, his appearance is precisely to exterminate the devils in this world." It should be said that this is the goal of the King Kong exorcism wand. He's different. You can't help him. He must learn to control it himself, not by the King Kong exorcism wand. He can only rely on himself. Long Fei beheaded a dark demon beast with a single slash. His body moved, and with a flip of his body, he stood in front of Arhut and said, "Arhut, listen to me. Don't let the external force control you. The more external force wants to control you, the more you will have to resist, not follow the flow. You have to learn how to control the external force. Do you understand?" Arhut's face was pale, and he said with a trembling voice, there's a demon, and a demon is approaching. Kill, kill, kill. I don't want to kill." It was painful. This kind of pain was something that no one else could understand. Long Fei looked at Arhut. He couldn't hear anything that Arhut was saying. Long Fei's idea sunk. The idea entered the Arhut's body. The Yen Huang ancestor was shocked and said, "Brat, you are courting death. Do you know what kind of power the Holy Buddha's power is? Do you know how strong King Kong exorcism wand are? Quickly take back the idea." Long Fei didn't listen at all. Since he was sure that Arhut was one of his 8 great Vajra, he could risk his life to help him. Yen Huang ancestor said, "This is crazy. The last time I devoured hundreds of your spirit stones, I wanted to say that I could increase my soul remembrance's power a little, but now I have returned it to you." Buzz. Amongst the broken pubes, the energy of a Yen Huang ancestor fused into Long Fei's idea. Next, Long Fei's idea had broken through the door of the idea in Arhut's body, so Long Fei's voice entered deep into his mind. "Protect your heart firmly. You have to control the King Kong exorcism wand, not be controlled." At this moment, an incomparably huge Buddha emerged from the Arhut's mind, the angry devil Buddha. "Humph! Get out!" A furious roar. Long Fei's idea had almost vanished into thin air. It was also at this time a mere reincarnation of a mere holy Buddha dares to be so arrogant in front of this sovereign. "Boy, you only need to mind your own business. If anyone dares to touch you, I'll immediately kill them." Arrogant, domineering to the extreme. Angry devil Buddha's power moved. Yen Huang ancestor's idea also rushed forward, and the two sides started to battle each other. Time was tight, so Long Fei rushed into the Arhat's mind and said, "I will guard it firmly, I will follow my heart, and everything will be under your control." Activate the energy within your body. Control the King Kong exorcism wand. Arhut sat cross-legged and said to Long Fei in his heart, I want to live as I will. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be a puppet. I don't want to. He had stayed in the Tianyan city for 3 whole months. He had been patient. The King Kong exorcism wand had always wanted to control him. Let him kill. He didn't even want to kill. Even if he knew the person he wanted to kill was the devil, he didn't want to kill. He resisted for 3 months. Just now, even though the King Kong exorcism wand were urging him to kill the 5 disciples of the Su family, he still held it in forcefully. But now, the King Kong exorcism wand sensed that a large group of demon experts were approaching and couldn't control the demonic god's might. This was the first time such a powerful explosion occurred. It was too hard. He felt as if he was struggling in hell. The first thing he wanted was to live as he pleased, even if he became an ordinary person. Long Fei said, if you want to live as you wish, then use your power to control everything. You have to let them know that my life is not under the control of the heavens. Ha ha ha. Yen Huang ancestor laughed excitedly. What a great saying! My life is not controlled by the heavens. Your words are too good. Arhut was also silently chanting in his mind. My life is not up to the heavens, but to me. My life belongs to me, not to the heavens. My life. He kept repeating the same sentence. At this time, Li Yuanba was already surrounded by hundreds of dark demon beasts, and his body was filled with wounds. However, he did not take a step back, nor did he let any of them near him. Wang Shiyun also rushed forward, helping to block, and shouted loudly, Su Tianlei, quickly help! The old ancestor also said, Captain Su, please go and help. Su Tianlei laughed proudly. I told you right from the beginning that I would absolutely not protect them. Moreover, didn't that kid just say it? The best defense is offense. Doesn't he like offense? Let him attack. Wang Shiyun said fiercely, Despicable. Ha ha ha. Su Tianlei laughed madly. Despicable? Since you say it's despicable, then I should be even more despicable. Su Tianlei shouted, Someone come. A few disciples walked up, holding onto large blades, facing the sneering Xiang Longfei. It was also at this time. A black silhouette landed in front of Wang Shiyun, laughing sinisterly. Kneel down and beg me. I will save him. Su Yu, those dark demon beasts, did not dare to attack him. The demon qi on his body was too dense. Wang Shiyun looked at the motionless Long Fei and said, I'm begging you, Su Yu, make them stop. I'm begging you. Su Yu laughed. Kneel down and beg me. Li Yuanba raged. After dispersing a large wave of demon beast, another large wave of demon beast pounced towards him. He looked at Long Fei and wanted to ask, Boss, can I use my weapon? However, he did not ask because he knew that Long Fei definitely had more important things to attend to. The 5 disciples walked over to Long Fei's side. Su Yu laughed sinisterly once again. Kneel down and beg me. Wang Shiyun looked at Long Fei and then looked at Su Yu and nodded. Okay, I'll kneel down for you. Ha ha ha. Su Yu laughed coldly. Quickly kneel down. Wang Shiyun bent his knees. For Long Fei, she could kneel, no matter whether it was effective or not. Even if there was a sliver of hope in front of Su Yu, she would still kneel down. The 5 disciples deliberately slowed down, just as Wang Shiyun's knee was still an inch away from the ground. I kneel to your ancestors for 18 generations. A furious roar rang out. Long Fei's eyes opened wide, and a ruthless qi burst out from his body. The dragon cellular grabbed and swept. Floating life. Table of contents. No windows. A ++ swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 5 heads fell. Long Fei did not stop there. He attacked with his blade at Su Yu, who was still laughing maniacally. The 5th chapter was sent over. Thank you for your support. 8_8419/2356638. Laughing at your 8 ancestors. Laughing at your 8 ancestors. As the blade came at him, Long Fei cursed. Su Yu's eyes turned sinister. The spirit qi on his body also fluctuated, and a ball of dense spirit demon qi rushed towards Xiang Longfei. Long Fei didn't give him any chance. So what if you're a demon? In front of him, even the demon gods would have to get rid of him. The wrath of the dragon god. The dragon Salyer released an intense dragon roar, a crazy roar. The bloodlight saber qi slashed down. Kill. Long Fei's body turned into a line as a dragon spirit shadow passed by. Other than making his aura a little stronger, Su Yu did not react at all. There was no reaction at all. Long Fei stood behind him, retracted her dragon Salyer, and said, "This is the 3rd time, so you must die." As soon as the word dead faded, puffed, Su Yu spat out a mouthful of blood, dropped to his knees, turned pale, and plopped his head on the ground. He didn't even have time to cry out in pain. Magic? Kill all the same. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing, Su Yu for obtaining an experience point, True Chi 300 points, energy values 100 points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Magic Pill Pellet, Magic Pill grade. Earth Stage Level 7 description. This is a profound nether pill. When a magic pill enters the body, its life force will burn. It will allow the user's strength to increase rapidly for a period of time. Holy sh**t. So awesome. Pills can even burn life. What an awesome dog. Long Fei's heart trembled. He finally knew why Su Yu had suddenly become so strong. It turned out to be a small magic pill that was in effect. The Yen Huang ancestor said, "This is the magic pill, and the demon medicine can also be called Berserk Core. Their alchemy's main purpose is to fight, and it's not to break through the shackles. The magic pill is to fight. This medicinal pill can instantly increase a person's cultivation by several realms." Hearing Yen Huang ancestor's explanation, Long Fei's heart secretly shivered, and he muttered to himself, "If we can improve on this kind of magic pill, then." There were no side effects of using magic pill. If the user's strength greatly increased and the medicinal effect recovered, there wouldn't be any side effects of igniting their own life force. That would truly be too satisfying, the Yen Huang ancestor said. It's impossible. Magic pills are 10,000 times more difficult to refine than ordinary pills. The magic pill's improvement is even more unbelievable. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Anything is possible in front of me. Ancestor, can you help me list out the types of spirit grass that can be refined with the profound nether pill?" Yen Huang ancestor. Domain. Su Tianlei was furious. The fiery tiger beneath him roared at Long Fei. Soundwave attack. Long Fei's ears were about to explode from the shock, the anger in his heart boiling. Looking at the surrounding dark demon beast, the idea moved and shouted, "Ice and fire!" Roar. Ice and fire rushed out from the space within the mount. It let out an incomparably large dragon roar, and directly crushed that raging inferno tiger like a dead dog. Moreover, Long Fei yelled again, "Ice and fire!" Roar. With another roar of ice and fire, blood started to flow from the eyes, ears, noses, and mouth of the fierce tiger, who was riding on the peak of the 3rd rank mount that Su Tianlei was riding on. Dead. After that, she stared at Su Tianlei with her fire and ice savage eyes, turned around and rushed into the sky, heavily landing beside Long Fei. Long Fei laughed coldly. "You dare be so arrogant in front of me?" Su Tianlei is this great. Tianyin City's only mount, a 3rd-level peak demon beast, was directly crushed to death. The surrounding dark demon beast ran even faster than ghosts and disappeared in almost an instant. Whether it was the dark demon beast or the normal demon beast, they were all afraid of dragons. Dragons were the strongest creatures in the world. They were born to be feared by any demon beast because they were the kings of demon beast. A real king. Su Qianlei's face turned extremely pale as he was in extreme pain. Facing the crushing pressure of ice and fire, he actually couldn't move at all. Long Fei's heart was also shaken. The ice and fire have leveled up again. It seems like those spirit stones have not been wasted. Compared to a few days ago, the fire and ice had grown in size, and the dragon aura on its body had become thicker. Its tyrannical aura had also become stronger. It was obvious that it had leveled up. Long Fei took a step forward and smiled. Su Tianlei, are you going to continue playing? Su Tianlei gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. The anger on his body flared up without restraint and stared at Long Fei gloomily. At the beginning, he had never placed Long Fei in his eyes before, but now he was not confident. Even if Long Fei was at the war chief realm level of cultivation, he was not confident. Suddenly, a burly middle-aged man rushed out, coldly snorting, "How dare you speak to the captain like that? You're courting death." He took a step forward. A ghost-like blade suddenly came slashing at him. Everyone from the Su's mercenary corps were overjoyed. This blade has succeeded. Ha ha ha. This kid is dead, for sure. If you dare to challenge the Su's mercenary corps, brat, you're dead for sure. Kill him. Long Fei grinned. So weak. Xiao Bai. Warpet Spaces Xiao Bai laughed excitedly. Understood. Without waiting for the blade to strike, a white shadow shot out. Bam! The muscular man flew into the dark forest. A pig-slaughtering howl sounded out, and then there was no then. Ding! Arhut walked to Long Fei's side and said in a low voice, "He is a demon." Arhut walked to Long Fei's side and said in a low voice, "He is a demon." Long Fei did not have any changes. Your son is a demon. How can your father not be a demon? Obviously, Su Tianlei had just consumed the Xian Ming Devil Pill, and the aura on his body abruptly changed. Also, Long Fei's heart tensed up. The strength of the Xian Ming Devil Pill increased greatly after Su Yu consumed it. Killing him in an instant was a very normal thing, but where's Su Tianlei? He was a War Master Ream cultivator. If he were to use Xian Ming Devil Pill S and level up to War Emperor realm, then, Long Fei thought in his heart, looks like I have to be more careful in the future. The War Emperor realm, it wasn't something that could be killed so easily. Even if Long Fei possessed a second-level Wushuang, now, he did not have absolute confidence. In Xianjian's sect, it was because Wu Haotian looked down on him. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to kill Wu Haotian. This was the barrier of the War Emperor realm, and Long Fei had not completely crossed it. All along the way, Arhut had been staring at Su Tianlei. He had a nagging feeling that there was a power in Arhut's eyes that was able to pierce through his body, and it was extremely uncomfortable. This feeling only existed after he had consumed the magic pill. Half a month passed. They had already gone deep into the depths of the dark forest. Demon Beast S were becoming rarer as well, but every time they met a powerful level 5 Demon Beast. All of these Demon Beasts were taken by Long Fei alone. He continued to kill. His experience points was also rising rapidly. All along the way, Su Tianlei had kept his mouth shut and did not dare to make the slightest movement towards Long Fei. However, he was waiting. He would definitely take revenge for his son's death. At night, they set up a bonfire. The old man said, slightly, "Tomorrow I will enter the dark canyon. After walking through the dark canyon for another 10 days, I will be able to leave the dark forest, which means I will be able to enter the Sea Devil Emperor's territory. Su Tianlei was overjoyed as he said softly, "The dark canyon is a heavenly danger. Once we enter, even if we encounter a slightly fiercer demon beast, I would probably suffer heavy casualties." He arrived at the agreed location with the Shadow Devil. The old man said, "I also know this, but there is only one path that can be taken." Long Fei replied, "Not really. If you are willing, I will let the ice and fire carry you there. There is no need to go through all that trouble." Long Fei said, "It was just a natural risk, so wouldn't it be fine to just fly over?" It was dangerous. Did he have to call them to leave? Isn't this asking for trouble? It was just like Journey to the West. It was something that could be solved with a single somersault. Where did he want this place to be? Ha ha. Wait until I get that treasure. Then I'll come back and deal with you. Boy, even if you don't die, you won't be able to live. Long Fei said, "Then it's a deal. I'll be waiting for you at the entrance to the canyon." Finished. Long Fei left. He was not an idiot. He would not be angered just because of a few words from Su Tianlei. He was very clear that the reason why the 8 great demon sects did not attack them along the way was because they were waiting for the perfect time. Or perhaps he was waiting for a perfect location. The dark canyon is it. If he were to hide, it would change from passive to active, from a cicada to a yellow sparrow. Moreover, from the feeling he gave Long Fei, the employer elder was definitely not someone to be trifled with. He clearly knew that Su Yu had become a demon by devouring magic pill, and Su Tianlei must definitely be related to some devil sect. The Su's mercenary corps did not trust him, but he still insisted on leaving the dark canyon. Is he a pig? No, he definitely had his own plans. Moreover, he believed that the power that would help him would definitely be able to bring him out of Dark Canyon. Therefore, he did not expose Su Tianlei. This way, if Long Fei hid himself, then it would be even better. Long Fei acted like he was being arrogant and stood up and said, "You guys watch this for me. I'll definitely fly over." Humph! With that, he left in anger. The old man's eyes narrowed as he thought, "It's good for him to leave." Su Tianlei, on the other hand, disdained him in his heart and said, "To become so arrogant and conceited with just a slight provocation, you truly are brainless trash." Long Fei walked over to the side of Wang Shiyun and the other two. He whispered a few words in a low voice. Table of contents. Wang Shiyun frowned. "There are Dark Crow King, S above Dark Peak. You must be careful." Long Fei laughed. "Don't worry." And then Long Fei said, "Remember what I said. Chapter 28_8419/2356640. Ice and fire, let's go! Ice and fire, let's go!" Long Fei stood on the body of the fire, and ice soared into the sky and instantly disappeared into the darkness. Su Tianlei looked in the direction Long Fei disappeared to and laughed. The old man also looked at the night sky, his eyes expressionless. Light this up." In the middle of the night, Su Tianlei took out a special signal detonator and placed it in Su Jianshan's hand, saying, "Once you're done counting, you can leave." Su Jianshan nodded and said, "Understood." "Big brother, now that Brat has left, why didn't he attack Wang Shiyun?" Once Long Fei left, the 3 of them would no longer pose any threat to them. Su Tianlei laughed coldly. "There's no rush. Big matters are now more important. Tomorrow, after entering the valley, you and Fourth Bro will have to stare at the old man closely. The item is on his body, and if we succeed this time, our Su's mercenary corps will have no problem breaking through to the King realm." Su Tianlei became excited. The night passed in silence. The morning of the second day, the procession punctually entered Dark Canyon. What surprised Su Tianlei was that Wang Shiyun and the others did not stay by the old man's side. They guarded the entire way, and after entering the canyon, they gave up. Su Tianlei thought in his heart, "At least you guys are sensible." The old man was aware of this, but he did not reveal it. And then there was Long Fei. He did not go to any dark peak. Compared to the Dark Crow King, he was more concerned with the God's devil loot, God's devil blade, God's devil blood, these things. He rode the fire and ice into the darkness and immediately fell into a trance. Become a demon. Hidden his aura, he quietly followed behind. For an A-level mission, giving up was equivalent to giving up. Even if they could get an S-level score, it would only be another chance at a lottery. God's devil loot, the God's devil blade, sounded like holy artifact-s. Moreover, his 3-blade stream was still missing a blade, so the God's devil blade might be able to become the 3rd blade. The mantis stalks the cicada, and the yellow sparrow follows. The yellow sparrow was in front while the hunter was behind. It's no use being an Oriole. You have to learn to be a hunter. The cold wind gusting in the dark canyon was like bursts of muffled thunder. Other than the sound of the cold wind, there was no other sound in the valley. Suddenly, Su Tianlei suddenly shouted, "Stop! Something's wrong." He pretended to be enigmatic as he walked over to the old man. "There is a situation up ahead. Why don't we stop here?" The old man firmly said, "Continue moving forward. You are not allowed to stop." Su Tianlei said, "This is not good. Dark Canyon is too dangerous. We should just take it step by step." "I'm the employer. If I say you can't stop, then you can't." The old man was somewhat anxious. Su Tianlei said, "You are indeed an employer, but I am in charge of this time. I must consider the lives of my brothers, unless you can tell me what it is that you have with you." The elder's eyebrows furrowed as he asked, "What do I have on me?" "Why, Captain Suit, you wanted to?" Su Tianlei slightly said, "All of our Su's mercenary corps focus on missions. I just do not want our lives to be sacrificed for nothing." The old man said, "Don't worry. I will definitely let you see when we reach Sea Devil Emperor, but not here, of course, and I order you to move forward." "Old fox," Su Tianlei's face turned sinister. "Are you just not willing to say it out loud?" The more the old man spoke, the more he felt that this was a good thing that could allow him to soar into the heavens. Su Tianlei slightly said, "Since you insist on it, we will do as you say. But if anything happens, I am not responsible. Come out." Before he could finish his words, "Rumble! Rumble!" A loud sound echoed from the entrance of the canyon. A disciple of the Su family quickly ran over and said, "Captain, the mountain has collapsed. The entrance has been blocked off." Su Tianlei frowned. He thought to himself, "Is Master Shadow Devil going to make his move?" The elder was also secretly anxious as he said, "All of you, advance." "Forward what?" "I have been waiting for you here for a long time. Inemo." Suddenly, a group of people emerged from the other end. One of the 8 great demon sects, the Blood Moon sect. At this moment, the King Kong exorcism wand on Arhut's back started to tremble violently. The only difference from the last time was that his expression was very calm. The old man frowned and said, "I don't know what you're talking about." It was all for the Blood Moon Black Deacon, Yi Tianhan. He stared at the old man coldly and smiled faintly. "You don't have to pretend in front of me, do you? No matter how good your disguise or how deep your disguise is, you have already revealed your true colors in front of my Blood Moon sect. Inemo from Blood Sea sect, a remnant of the demonic sect. Hand over all the items from the God's Devil Ancestor. On the account of the God's Devil Ancestor, I will spare your life. His voice was ice cold. Su Tianlei was a little confused. Could it be that the frail old man beside him was not an elder of the Hai Tian Merchant Union? How did he become the Inmo of the Blood Sea sect? What was going on? I don't understand. He didn't understand at all. Wang Shiyun and the others were also stunned. Li Yuanba muttered, "Isn't the devil race too complicated? How come their employers turned into demons?" Ha 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 ha. The old man laughed sinisterly. "Black Deacon, I didn't think that you would bring the blood moon mirror here. Your sect master has really put in a lot of effort. Blood moon mirror. As long as the blood moon mirror carried with it the existence of a demonic mirror, it would be able to sense any kind of demonic aura." The corners of Black Deacon's mouth turned cold, and he laughed lightly. "It's good that you know this. Obediently hand over the magic box, and I will spare your life." The old man sneered. "With just you?" "Not yet." Black Deacon frowned, his killing intent rising as he said, "I'll let you know what qualifications are." As soon as his voice faded, the disciples of the Blood Moon sect moved in unison. All the people he brought out this time were the elite disciples of the War Master Ream, and he himself was at the first level of the War Emperor. Yo, they're already fighting over them. Didn't the Blood Moon sect say they won't participate in this contest? Black Elder, you really are one man, one woman. A soft voice rang out. Black Deacon immediately shouted, "Protect your heart and close your ears." His voice carried a demon note that seeped into the hearts of humans. The King Kong exorcism wand on Arhot's back started to tremble even more violently. The diamond rings clashed together as if about to go berserk. Su Tianlei also suddenly shouted out, "Quickly cover your ears." However, his reaction was too slow. Ha ha, ha ha. More than half of the Su disciples started to madly laugh. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life's strongest upgrade system demon note entered his heart. His mind was in a mess. He was crazy. One was stronger than the other. A group of peerless girls walked out from within the gorge. They wore very little clothes, and each one of them was a devastatingly beautiful beauty. Chapter 38_8419/2356641. Evil Sound Sect, one of the 8 great demon sections. Evil Sound Sect, one of the 8 great demon sections. They were all women's sections. They were proficient in demon note attacks. The moment the demon note entered their bodies, it would be controlled by them. In addition to their impeccable looks and charming eyes, it was much easier to control the men. The laughing disciples of the Su family had already become their puppets. As long as they needed it, they could attack with all they had. The lady in charge was called Xie, the only disciple of the Evil Sound Sect's sect master, and also the great elder of the Evil Sound Sect, had an extremely strong cultivation. Xie smiled slightly. "Master Inemo, our Evil Sound Sect does not want anything else. As long as it is a God's Devil loot, this Guqin was once made jointly by us and the ancestors of the Evil Sound clan. It belongs to our Evil Sound Sect itself." "Humph, what do you mean by refining together?" "It seems that you, the ancestor Xie, shamelessly begged the God's Devil ancestor to refine it." Black Deacon sneered. The old man said, "It seems you know what is in the box." The Black Deacon laughed. "God's Devil blood, God's Devil loot, God's Devil blade. 3 magic Buddhist relics. Inemo, you don't have to hide anything anymore." "Who doesn't know about this?" "The 8 great demon sects have already spread word of it. Do you really think you can hide it from us?" Then Black Deacon looked at his surroundings and said, "Don't hide anymore. Is there any meaning in hiding?" Since you're already here, why do you need to hide anymore? As soon as he finished, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. The people hidden in the darkness of the canyon had all come out. The 8 great demon sects were all gathered. Blood Moon Sect, Evil Sound Sect, Blood Refinement Sect, Blood Sea Sect, Mountain Sea Sect, Ghost Evil. All of them appeared. In a few minutes, the entire canyon was crowded to the point that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Su Tianlei landed on a person's body, the shadow devil of the mountain and sea sect. Inemo, since you already know about it, then let's talk about it on the table. You don't want to keep everything that God's devil ancestor left to you, right? That's right. The God's devil ancestor was once our demon lord. We demons have a share of his possessions. Divided. Divide. How? The 8 great forces only have 4 items. How can we split them? No matter what you say, my God's devil loot will definitely belong to my evil sound sect. Only my evil sound sect will be able to release its power, and only then will we be able to deal with the sect. Xiaqin, if you say it like that, then I even said that the God's devil blade would belong to my blood sea sect. If your evil sound sect obtains the God's devil loot, then what? The 8 great powers quickly started quarreling. Li Yuanba said naively, "It's exactly as boss expected." Wang Shiyan said, "We must not move recklessly, wait for Long Fei to come back." Su Tianlei was also secretly a fool. He thought that only the Mountain Sea Sect's shadow devil had returned. He never thought that all 8 demon sects would come. Then this time, his heart tensed up at the same time. He approached Inemo and asked, "What do we do?" While they were talking, he looked at Su Jianshan and Su Tianshan. The 2 of them nodded slightly. They couldn't deal with the 8 demon sects, but as long as Inemo was in his hands, then nothing would be a problem. Inemo's voice sank and said slightly, "Since you all know that this is a treasure left behind by the God's devil ancestor, then you all should know that this is not for you all." Not waiting for him to finish. Everyone was furious. "Not for us. Did I leave it for you alone?" Inemo, don't say that you don't have any greed for them. What are you planning to do by bringing them to the Sea Devil Emperor? Could it be that you want to worship in the demonic temple? Humph, you are the most cunning old fox of the demons, and no one can trust you. What's more, God's devil ancestor has died for so many years, and not a single corpse is left. So what if we rob him of his things? Can he climb up from the underworld to bite us? In the process of their argument, it was unknown who said this from the crowd. "Let's fight. It's up to who's stronger." It was not loud. However, it was very clear, and almost everyone heard it. Li Yuanba's heart trembled, and he thought to himself, "Why does this sound a little like boss?" It was also at this moment. Everyone became alert and took out their weapons at the same time. "Fight me. Whoever wins will take care of him." You're right. This is a world where the strong are respected. Whoever is strong enough will be able to obtain everything. Come on, come on. They continued to clamor. No one was stupid, and no one wanted to fight first. Fighting first would definitely lead to public outrage, and could even lead to a group attack. This was rather disadvantageous for them. Still can't fight. Long Fei, who was hiding amongst the disciples of the demon sect, cursed in his heart, "Motherf asterisk cur, a bunch of trash. If they're not going to fight, then what the hell are you guys doing?" He was the one who said that. He thought it would happen at once. It was unexpected that these demonic factions had yet to start fighting. However, they were all quite tense, and as long as there was even the slightest bit of stimulation, they would all be engaged in a chaotic battle. What could excite them? Long Fei thought about it again and again, and then silently said to himself, "I have to do something, or else." How can a hunter like me benefit from this? Being among the demons was like gaining some benefits. He did not care about God's devil ancestor or the 8 great demon sections. What he wanted was experience. It's the true chi, of course. It would be better if he could get something from the God's devil ancestor. If the entire valley was filled with disciples of the devil sect, and all of them were killed, the total amount of EXP would definitely be raised by 1 or 2 levels. Long Fei retreated a few steps. One of the devil sect disciples asked in a low voice, "The fight is about to start. Where are you going?" Long Fei said in a low voice, "I'm too nervous. Go take a piss first. Don't be unable to hold it in later." The person said, "I also need to pee. Let's go together." Long Fei was startled for a moment, and then said, "Okay." The 2 of them sneakily retreated into the darkness. Then the demon disciples immediately untied their belts, looked at Long Fei, and asked, "Brother, which elder's disciple are you? Why have I never seen you before?" Long Fei laughed foolishly and said, "I belong to—" He walked forward. With his right hand grabbing, he took out the dragon salyer and hacked down. Crack! His head was broken, and he was still pissing in the air. Long Fei retracted his dragon salyer and said disdainfully, "Aren't you courting death?" And then Long Fei summoned his ice and fire and said, "Ice and fire, Dark Peak. Xiao Bai, you stay behind to protect them." As soon as he finished, ice and fire soared into the sky. Something had to be done. Long Fei didn't even have the patience. What devil sect disciples? They didn't have the impulsiveness that a demon should have, and had to give them something to provoke. They had to get excited. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to fight until next year. Chapter 48_8419/2356642. Standing on the dragon's back, Long Fei shouted towards the incomparably huge dark crow king, "You're going to hit me, you're going to bite me, you're going to hit me, grandson, you're coming." He was filled with hatred. A lot of demon disciples had died, but only a small part of them. There was still a large wave of devil sect disciples who hadn't died. What were these? Experience. The true chi. How could it be wasted? It wasn't easy to lure the big boss out, but if he didn't make good use of it, it would be a waste. After being ridiculed by Long Fei, Dark Crow King was so angry that his entire body had turned into flames. When the flames dispersed, millions of flaming crows flew out. "Fire Crow!" As the Dark Crow King's voice fell, millions of fire thunder crows rushed into the canyon. Don't chase me, don't chase me." Rumble! When the fire thunder crow touched its body, it exploded. Immediately, it was all gone. Ding! The entire canyon was filled with fire thunder crows, exploding whenever they came into contact with someone. Wow! It's here, it's here! Long Fei saw that there was a large group of fire thunder crows following behind her like a tracking missile. It was as if Long Fei had fired a fighter jet. Quick, 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 a bit faster, or else you'll be turned into a roasted fire dragon. Long Fei's palms also broke out in cold sweat as he watched the people inside the canyon explode the moment they touched the flames and the tens of thousands of ravens on his mouth. This was the tempo of exploding into the sky. Suddenly, Long Fei saw Su Tianlei running wildly not far away. Long Fei moved. "Fly lower, I have a way." Fire and ice followed suit. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei had caught up to Su Tianlei and waved at him. "Hello, Guild Leader Su. We have met. I have already returned from Dark Peak." "You lost. So you're disbanding your Su's mercenary corps." Su Tianlei was so angry that his face turned green, and he cursed, "You lunatic, you want me to dissolve the Su's mercenary corps. Stop dreaming, I'll definitely kill you and take revenge for my son." F***CK. He's so unfaithful to his word. Long Fei scolded, and then laughed. Since you do not keep your promise, then I will have to do it myself. Wang Jianshan shouted loudly, Big brother, behind us are a large black mass of fire thunder crows. Su Tianlei turned around and looked and scolded, You dog, I'm not done with you. Suddenly, Su Tianlei held his golden blade and flew into the air, slashing towards Long Fei with his blade. Long Fei's mouth curved upwards and said, You're not done with this, Daddy. I'm not done with you. But I have no time to waste with you right now. Long Fei moved. The speed of his ice and fire increased again as he flew past the walls of the canyon. Moreover, he turned his body and flew close to the ground. It flew above the heads of the Su disciples. At the same time, over 10,000 fire thunder crows rushed out. Rumble! 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 Countless casualties. The system beep in Long Fei's mind went berserk again. He went around the bend. Long Fei withdrew his idea and jumped down from the ice flame. At the same time, the ice and fire flew up into the sky and into the clouds, then instantly disappeared as he returned to Long Fei's mount space. Long Fei landed in the canyon. Then, he found a place to hide. You were like a fire in the winter. The raging flames were burning me. Hiding to the side, Su Yun moved his, but according to the rhythm of the system beep. It felt so good. Half an hour later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, War Chief level, 9. He leveled up again. He was just that handsome, just that fast. To be able to raise 2 levels in less than an hour, that was simply too great. After the fire thunder crows exploded, the entire canyon was a mess, corpses littered everywhere. The Dark Crow King disdainfully said, Puny human, humph. This is the result of angering my Raven King. A contemptuous tone. Long Fei said in disdain in his heart, This young master is not doing this to you. Otherwise, sister-in-law, 1-/+ health, strongest upgrade system, right. Ancestor. Do you think that after breaking through level 1, he will be able to evolve into a 9 secret underworld finches and enter the underworld? Long Fei suddenly asked. Yan Huang Ancestor replied, That's right. Long Fei muttered, Let's find a chance to take him in. Chapter 18_19/2356644. 1 hour later. 1 hour later, Dark Crow King flew back to Dark Peak. The canyon regained its peace. However, this peace was only on the surface. Under the attack of the Raven King, the survivors were all experts. After confirming that the Raven King had flown away, a demon elder deeply roared. Who was it that attracted the Dark Crow King over? This time, he really did suffer great injuries. The devil sect was not strong in the first place, and for this treasure of the god's devil ancestor, they had auctioned off more than half of their elite disciples. He had been killed in an instant. I can't even tell the bodies apart. In the dark, Long Fei grinned vulgarly. At this time, another elder of the devil sect walked out and shouted, This will be better. It will save us a lot of trouble. Xiechin also walked out and said coldly, Ghost Elder, aren't you too vicious? Humph, little girl, you dare to speak to me like that? Even if your master was here, he wouldn't dare to speak to me like that. You're courting death. Before he could finish, the sky was filled with ghost shadows as the War Emperor realm smashed down with all its strength. What he wanted this time was a one-hit kill. Xiechin's expression changed slightly with a cold snort. He said, Calling you Ghost Elder is saying that is thinking highly of you, you ugly and petty old thing. She suddenly flew up and stood on the cliff. Her right hand moved, and she took out a magic zither. She hugged it and flicked her finger. Buzz, buzz. The demon note was raging. Ghost Elder's heavenly ghost image was continuously being destroyed into powder, while the original body was also forced to retreat. His eyebrows were startled. The old granny's 9 serenities, zither? Sietchin sneered. It's good that you know this. If you know, go die. This time, she was the first to attack. Grabbing onto the zither strings with 2 fingers of her right hand, she pulled at Ghost Elder, then released. Buzz, buzz, an explosive sound was heard. Ghost Elder's expression changed. He immediately closed his ears, and the War Emperor on his body turned into a ghost as he wielded his axe and chopped down. However, useless. The thick defensive armor of the Ghost King was smashed apart by the zither music. The armor turned into powder, revealing his white bones, but he was still blasted into smithereens. The sound of the zither also weakened quite a bit. Ghost Elder shouted, "You can't kill me with this kind of sound." "Is that so?" Sietchin revealed a cold smile. She pulled out a string, and the string became a thin sword the size of a needle. Pucci! Sietchin was sent flying and crashed into a rock wall tens of meters away. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, his face pale white. He looked at another place gloomily and said, "Blood refinement scholar." It was also at this moment. Standing beside Ghost Elder was a man dressed in white, who looked like a scholar. The man faced him and sneered, "Sietchin, you're too careless." Ghost Elder laughed proudly and said, "Do you think I would be that easy to kill? It's just for you to see. You have no experience at all to actually dare to lay your hands on me. Ha!" Ghost Elder laughed proudly. At the same time, the 2 of them attacked Sietchin at the same time. Boom! A huge axe swept out, the immense power directly causing the Ghost Elder and the blood refinement scholar to retreat backwards. A man with a monstrous appearance walked out. Standing beside Sietchin, she said slightly, "2 men bullying a woman. That's not good, right? A freak from the mountain and sea sect. People say, butcher." The expression on the faces of the blood refinement scholar and the Ghost Elder slightly changed. They had absolute confidence in fighting 2 against 1, but if it was a 2v2, they were not very confident. Moreover, this place was not only their 4 devils, there were also the other experts in the 4 devils. All of a sudden, the originally tense atmosphere turned into a deadlock. The scholar slightly said, "Is this a good show? I should come out." A Blood Moon sect black deacon was the first to walk out laughing. He looked at a dead body and said, "Inemo, you don't need to hide under my Blood Moon mirror." "It's useless." The dead body stood up, smiled, and said, "One day I will destroy your Blood Moon mirror." Under the Blood Moon mirror, he had nowhere to hide. There were only a dozen or so disciples of the devil sect left in the previous valley. The losses were heavy. The black deacon said, "Inemo, since it's like this, why aren't you handing the thing over? Do you still want us demons to be bullied, suffering from the oppression of those sects?" Exactly. The gods' devil ancestors' remnants were originally meant to make us strong and then avenge the old man. What do you mean by this? Do you, Inemo, own it? Inemo smiled slightly and said, "Divide completely possible, but how do you want to divide it?" "I want the gods' devil loot." "No, I can't give you the gods' devil loot. Isn't my ghost evil going to be suppressed by your evil sound sect? I want the gods' devil blade. I want the gods' devil blood." There was another argument. Inemo laughed. He knew clearly in his heart that these were the remnants of the gods' devil ancestor, and all these belonged to a single person, the Sea Devil Emperor's crown prince Huang Wuji, because he had the heavenly demon blood vein in his body. Then the heavenly demon blood vein must be the descendant of the god's devil ancestor. These things belonged to him. In here, if For the god's devil successor to be able to become the supreme devil king of the South Horizon region with his support, he would definitely be the #1 demon. And the most important point, magic box. He couldn't open it either. Only the god's devil successor can open it. No one knew about this, except himself. Thus, he wanted the 8 demonic sects to fight and kill each other. Seeing them arguing until their faces and necks were red, Emo laughed in his heart. Let's fight, let's fight. It would be great if the Raven King from before would do it again. Suddenly, the scholar suddenly said, I have a suggestion. Speak. Everyone looked at him. The scholar said, if we continue to argue like this, we won't be able to come to a conclusion even if we argue until next year. If we kill each other, it will only harm the vitality of our demon race. So, I suggest that whoever can find that kid who was standing on top of the ice and fire just now, the god's devil ancestor's treasure should belong to that person. Huh. Everyone shivered. Someone immediately shouted, that brat lured the Dark Crow King over and killed so many of our disciples. 2 things make one thing. I agree with this suggestion. I agree. The 8 great sects were all in favor. If not for the treasures of the god's devil ancestor, they would have already made their move against Long Fei. That kid must still be in the canyon. Search carefully. Baidu search. Half afloat immediately. The last few War Emperor realm rankers from the 8 great demon sects were all gathered, searching for Long Fei. In the dark, Long Fei was stupefied. He was originally humming a flame around him, but then he suddenly felt as if a bucket of ice water had been poured over him. He cursed in his heart, F*CK, you F*Ker. Chapter 28_8484/2356645. He had played himself out. He had played himself out. They don't play their cards the way they do. Since all his disciples had died, he should have given it his all. However, but to find him, this, which devil is this? F*CKU. Long Fei cursed in his heart as he tried to come up with a countermeasure. The remaining dozen or so people, other than a few disciples, were all experts of the War Emperor Realm S, led by the leaders of the 8 great demon sections. No matter how strong he was not a match for the 8 great War Emperor rankers. A head-on clash? The chance of survival is 0. Escape. The energy from ice and fire can't hold on for long, and besides, no matter how fast I am, it is impossible for me to be as fast as a War Emperor ranker. That won't do either. Become a devil. This. Long Fei's heart trembled. His mouth revealed a wretched smile, and muttered, This is fine. At the same time, Long Fei said to Xiao, via sound transmission, Xiao, protect them well. If I am caught, do not come out. Finished. Long Fei moved and said, Enchanted. It was also at this moment. A charred man stood in the darkness with a golden blade in his hand. Su Tianlei. This guy isn't dead yet. However, Long Fei had already entered the bewitching stage. His threads quickly turned blood red, and the demonic qi on his body dissipated. In the short 1 second, he had turned into a demonic. Su Tianlei's eyeball had already disappeared, and the remaining eye of his had turned into a cross-eyed ball as well. Long Fei's aura was extremely familiar to him, and he shouted loudly, Lord Shadow Devil, he's here. As soon as he finished, Su Tianlei was also raging to the heavens as he said, Brat, go and die. Long Fei was already possessed by his devil, and his voice sunk. Su Tianlei, you bastard, you're courting death. There was still a bit of blood on top of Su Tianlei's head. Long Fei kicked Su Tianlei and sent him flying. Fuck you. Bam. Su Tianlei was flung out and smashed into the wall. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Su Tianlei for obtaining an experience point. True Chi 200, energy values 10 points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Magic Pill. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 Spirit Stones. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Golden Blade. A small explosion. Long Fei didn't have time to be happy because in front of him stood 8 people. An elder of the 8 great demon sects was also an expert of the 8 great war emperoress. They stared at him without moving. Long Fei immediately said respectfully, "I pay my respects to the 8 elders. That person tried to sneak attack me and was sent flying with a kick. Isn't this trash trying to insult my devil's sect just seeking death? Milords, I have dealt with him. Am I too handsome?" A screenwriter is also fine, Inemo thought. That's impossible. The god's devil ancestor's reincarnation can only be one person, but I saw with my own eyes that Huang Wuji from the Sea Devil Emperor has the heavenly demon blood vein. He also has the appearance of a god's devil ancestor. So who exactly is the real god's devil ancestor's successor? Could it really be 2 people? Impossible. All of a sudden, Inemo was also at a loss. At this time, the 8 demon sect experts walked up with murderous expressions on their faces. Obviously, they had made a decision. The scholar said coldly, "Brat, you are not the reincarnation of the god's devil ancestor. If you are the god's devil ancestor, then you will definitely not kill any demon disciple. So, you must have some sort of magic treasure on you that can change you into this state." The butcher then said, "You should pay the price for killing so many of our demon disciples. What's the point of wasting so much time with him? Kill him." The 8 people stepped forward at the same time. Long Fei tightened his eyebrows and started to act cautiously. These 8 people were clearly here for the treasures. Baidu's sister-in-law, a half. Floating life strongest upgrade system. If they acknowledged that Long Fei was the reincarnation of a sky demon, then it would be impossible for them to obtain the treasures of the god's devil ancestor. So, only by killing Long Fei would it be possible for them. The remnants of the god's devil ancestor, they were all godly items. Anyone would covet them. No one could resist temptation. Inemo suddenly took a step forward and said, "Wait, Chapter 38_8419/2356646. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.